and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Just 4 days ago, Giants quarterback Daniel Jones was benched in favor of Tommy DeVito. Today, Jones was cut by the team after asking owner John Mara for his release. ESPN's Ryan Clark.
If you're the New York Giants, you have to start completely over. And you're in the same position you were in when you drafted Daniel Jones under Dave Gettleman, 6th overall in the draft with Kyler Murray and obviously Dwayne Haskins. But they have to find ways to win going forward.
Ryan Clark on First Take. Titans cornerback L'Jarius Sneed will go on IR tomorrow. He's been out since week 6 after taking a helmet to his thigh. The 49ers are a 3-point underdog for Sunday's game against the Packers in Green Bay. If that holds, it would end a streak of 36 regular season games in which they've been favored. East Carolina corner Savone Revel will declare for the NFL draft. He's been out since September with a torn ACL, but ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr. rates Revel the #1 cornerback in the draft.
Time with family, laughs with friends, and cash back? Discover's got you covered on the last one. That's because Discover doubles all the cash back you've earned on your credit card at the end of your first year with Cash Back Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Go!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Cassie Spazzali.
I'm walking here. I'm walking here.
Muse who? And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Phil Steele in 15 minutes. Tiger basketball on the hardwood. We'll talk to Matthew Bruni next hour. Sam Spiegelman give us some national perspective on Bryce Underwood. That's in hour 3. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, as we were just about to go off air on Thursday, Adam Schefter broke the news that Bryce Underwood was flipping. Bryce Underwood would later confirm that he was flipping his commitment from LSU to Michigan. Called it a lifelong dream. Oh, man. I was doing an interview with Crane and Company before I came on today. My guy David Cohn, who's a Michigan man, was extolling Sharon Moore for the great job he did building the relationship with Bryce Underwood. I can't even say it without laughing. I mean, they dumped $12 million on him. Short time after we got off air, learned the terms. Michigan offered Bryce Underwood $3 million per year over 4 years for $12 million. LSU's NIL offer was half of that number. It was $1.5 million per year over 4 years for a total of $6 million. For everyone today who's wondering why LSU doesn't have motivated boosters, please. You offered a kid that hasn't taken a snap $6 million. You got motivated boosters. You just don't have the head of Oracle dumping $12 million on a kid that's never played because your team's 5-5. I know that sounds like sour grapes, and it is. I wish Bryce Underwood was coming to LSU, and I wish LSU had a roster of billionaire boosters that could dump that kind of money. But if anyone is today trying to pretend that this is anything other than what it very clearly is, that is just disingenuous. But it is part of the culture of college football today. So I want to talk about it. Some have asked, hey, is there any chance LSU could counter, could get him back? No. So I want to talk about the path forward for LSU without Bryce Underwood and what that kind of looks like, because that's the reality you're faced with now after spending 3 years recruiting Bryce Underwood, after having him committed for nearly a year, after having all of your eggs in the Bryce Underwood basket, having now no real option for an elite quarterback in the class of 2025, what do you do? And what is your path forward? That's really how you have to look at it. And I do believe there are coexisting realities. I think these two things that I'm about to tell you are not mutually exclusive. On one hand, Bryce Underwood, by everyone's accounts, is fantastic. One of these amazing football players, the number one player in the country, and you spent so much and invested so much in him, and you would love for him to be your quarterback of the future. Like, that is one truth. Like, yes, you would be better long-term with Bryce Underwood. Like, you want Bryce Underwood to be a part of your program, okay? That is true. I'm not in any way hand-waving, dismissing Bryce Underwood's value, importance, any of that stuff. We're clear on that. That's one. The other part is that there is a path forward for LSU without Bryce Underwood. And I want to talk about that today because that's LSU's reality. The Bryce Underwood thing is gone. So you can acknowledge how much that sucks and how much you would have loved to have had him and how much better you'd be long-term if you did have him. But you can also look at what the path forward is and go, okay, well, that feels doable. Let's explore that a little bit. Number one, I'll tell you straight up, you are better in 2025 with a fifth-year senior Garrett Nussmeier than a true freshman Bryce Underwood. This is not something that I have said just today after Bryce Underwood's flip. This is something, and the great thing about the digital era is that, as I say all the time, is everything is recorded. And you can go find me saying this for months on every different platform. You are not better with a true freshman quarterback than with a fifth-year senior starting for the second year. We saw it with Joe Burrow from his fourth year to his fifth year, Jaden Daniels, fourth year to fifth year, Zach Mettenberger, fourth year to fifth year. You give me a guy that has played, that has started, I would rather that over a true freshman. Look at what's happening in Oklahoma right now. We've given you this example. Dylan Gabriel came in, veteran guy, won 10 games. They wanted to go with the young guy, the five-star, Jackson Arnold. Gabriel now is the quarterback of the number one team in the country, who's going to be in the playoffs, going to be a Heisman finalist. Jackson Arnold got benched. He's got his job back now, but they're not very good over there at Oklahoma. So, let's just be very honest and very clear. Bryce Underwood may start at Michigan next year and go 6-6. Possible. Maybe he has a great year next year. Don't know. But in 25, I would rather Garrett Nussmeier. You're also going to see somebody leave because this is just what happens. It's not that I know anything about LSU's current quarterback room and who might leave and who might stay and all that stuff. This is just what happens. In 2018, when you brought in Burrow, McMillan and Narcisse left. In 2022, when you brought in Jaden Daniels, Miles Brennan retired from football. In 23, when Daniels returned and Nussmeier stayed, Walker Howard left. This is just one of the guys on your roster right now is going to leave. So you're probably going to have to add a quarterback in the portal, even if it's just, I say just, but even if it's just somebody that's a body in the way that you added A.J. Swan this year. And then when you look to 2026, I would go so far as to say right now that whoever is the quarterback at LSU after Garrett Nussmeier is not currently on the roster. I think if Nussmeier plays in 25, whoever is the quarterback in 26 is probably a transfer for a year, 2 years, whatever it may be. And you can look to a path down the road with Elijah Haven from Dunham in Baton Rouge, who's the number one quarterback in 2027, potentially being that quarterback of the future that you could bring in and groom and grow and mold and develop and all that stuff. But you hope for Nussmeier in 25, he comes back, and probably a portal quarterback in 2026. I would also suggest to you, I would also suggest that you're better with transfers than high school quarterbacks. Joe Burrow was a transfer, won the Heisman. Jaden Daniels was a transfer, won the Heisman. Zach Mettenberger was a transfer. It was great for you. Danny Etling was a transfer. You are better off with transfers, not just LSU. Look right now in college football. 7 of the top 9 ranked teams in the country are quarterbacked by transfers. Dylan Gabriel at Oregon, Will Howard at Ohio State, Quinn Ewers at Texas, Rourke at Indiana, Leonard at Notre Dame, Cam Ward at Miami, Jackson Dart at Ole Miss. They're all transfers. There is a path forward if you're willing to spend money in the portal, to find a starting quarterback in the portal. And that's what LSU, the path you have to go. Again, like, I'm not hand-waving Bryce Underwood. I'm just saying that ship has sailed. So what is your path forward? Well, look at this. Look at what people have done successfully without a guy like Bryce Underwood. The other thing I will tell you also, and you may not love to hear this, especially today, but let's look at quarterbacks, at the top quarterbacks in their respective classes, how they're doing. Last year, DJ Lagway, Julian Sayin, Dylan Raiola, still to be determined. Go back to 2023. The top quarterback in the country, Arch Manning, TBD. Dante Moore, Nico, TBD. In 2022, Cade Klubnik, Ty Simpson, Drew Aller. Those were the top quarterbacks in 22. 2021, Quinn Ewers, Caleb Williams, won a Heisman, didn't win a championship. Sam Heward was the third best quarterback in 2021. You want to go back to 2020, Bryce Young, DJU, CJ Stroud. Those guys didn't win championships. 2019, Spencer Rattler, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels was the number 3 quarterback in 2019. You'd have to go back to 2018 with Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and by the way, JT Daniels was number 3 before you find a quarterback that won a national championship in Trevor Lawrence. A top-ranked quarterback. The path forward is find an experienced quarterback out of the portal. And perhaps the most important thing for LSU right now is to take advantage of this moment. So we've talked about the 25 class that they've built, and Bryce Underwood was the crown jewel of the class. There was no denying that. You've taken away the biggest, most decorated, most awesome piece of that class. You do still, however, have an amazing class assembled. DJ Pickett, Cade Phillips, Harlem Berry, Karis Kern, who Shea told us earlier this week he feels will be a 5-star by the time the final rankings come through. That would be 4 5-stars, and Jakeem Stewart's out there. By the way, I will tell you, a conversation I had today before the show, Michigan is going ham on Jakeem Stewart, and I would not be surprised, given what they just did to land Bryce Underwood, if they land Jakeem Stewart as well. Even though his stated Final Four were LSU, Ohio State, Southern Cal, and Oregon, I would not be surprised one iota if Jakeem Stewart ends up in Ann Arbor as well, because they are spending cash. But the good news for LSU, you had $1.5 million committed for Bryce Underwood. You can now take those funds and use them to solidify this class and to be active in the transfer portal. LSU knows, I'm not telling you something I'm guessing at, I'm telling you something I know. Firsthand conversations I've had. LSU already has money allocated for elite players in this year's portal, and they are going to be spenders. It's something they regret last year in the first portal window. They were not aggressive enough. They know they have to do it, and they're going to be. So you've now got an extra $1.5 million to go play with on top of everything you already had allocated. Solidify the 25 class, be active in the portal, hope like God Garrett Nussmeier comes back and improves in 2025, and that buys you a year to figure out what the future of your quarterback position is going to be. It's not the path you thought you were going to take for as long as Bryce Underwood's been committed, but it's the path you now must take. So how do you explore it? That's about as good as I can think of as of right now. As it develops, we'll continue to follow it. All right, it's After Further Review Show Open, brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the Tigers. Around town, make sure you got plenty of ice-cold Bud Light. You can see the Bud Light cans, the LSU cans, aluminum bottles. Bud Light, drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light. They'll have plenty out at LSU as well. Basketball season's here. And, of course, also the Bud Light Fan Zone for LSU football against Vanderbilt on Saturday. The Fan Zone right there between the PMAC and Tiger Stadium. Bud Light, drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. All right, it's After Further Review. We'll knock out our first break. Come back. Phil Steele's next. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Shout out Bobby Sonier. Was over at the Scone household earlier today. We had a new AC installed in our house this fall. Bobby was there for the quality check. Whenever they do a full AC install, they have one of their field supervisors come to do a quality check. That was today. We also had our heater safety check. That's something I always encourage you to do. Make sure before the cold weather comes, and we're in the 40s now and at night, you're cranking on that heater. Make sure your heater is running efficiently, and more importantly, it's running safely. Let River City's 1 Hour Air come out, give you that pre-season heater safety check. Call them today at 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001 or 1hourbr.com for River City's 1 Hour Air. If you got funny noises or smells from your heater, or you've just never had that thing checked since you've been in your home, the time is now. Call them today. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001.
Let's talk turkey. Bayou Ford can get you in a new 2024 Ford F-150 with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off America's favorite F-150 truck. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Can LSU please get a win? Please. By the time they tee it up and kick it off Saturday in Tiger Stadium, it will have been 5 weeks since LSU beat Arkansas. The man with the answers is Phil Steele. Good enough to preview all the biggest games of college football weekend with us every Friday. Phil, how are you?
You know, I am doing great, Matt. How about yourself?
Not great, Phil. Not great. 3-game losing streak, a bye mixed in. It's been a month since LSU's caught a dub. I mean, not good. But hopefully that ends with Vandy coming in, but that doesn't even feel like a sure thing. We'll get to that. Hey, let's start with the big one in the shoe. Indiana, Ohio State, big what do we call it, Phil? Big 12-15 kickoff?
Yes, Big 12-15.
Ohio State's an 11-point favorite. IU trying to keep their dream season alive. What do you think? The Buckeyes at the shoe or Indiana keeps it going?
You know, I've been following Ohio – well, actually, I follow all the teams all year. But in Ohio State, I have not seen a single game this year where they've played 4 quarters. You go back to the last 2 weeks. Purdue outplayed them in the first quarter. Northwestern outplayed them in the first quarter. Penn State almost beat them at the end. Nebraska, they only beat by 4. They've had a lot of uneven games. And Indiana, I haven't seen that unevenness. They pretty much have dominated almost everybody with the exception of Michigan in their last game. And the matchup I'm really looking at here is Ohio State losing their center. McLaughlin is a guy that was probably going to be first-team All-American in a lot of places. This was after losing their star left tackle a few weeks back. So they're really shuffling on the offensive line against a defense that gives up just 2.5 yards per carry and gets 31 sacks. I really like the way this Indiana team is playing. I think they've got a shot at potential upset. So I like the Hoosiers plus the points here, and I think folks are going to learn about Indiana football this week.
Excited to see it. Down in the swamp, Florida's going to welcome in Ole Miss. Gators are a 12-point dog. I guess the question, Phil, is did Florida find something last week against LSU, or was it just that LSU's not very good? Ole Miss, meanwhile, streaming toward a potential playoff berth. Rebs, a 12.5-point road favorite in the swamp.
You know, I like the way Florida's been playing ever since the Texas A&M game. You go back to Mississippi State, they pretty much dominated that. UCF dominated them at the half. Tennessee, they should have beaten Tennessee on the road. They completely dominated the first half. Somehow, some way, only scored 3 points in the first half, ended up losing by 6. Dominated Kentucky. I think they would have beat Georgia had DJ Lagway not got injured. They were up by 7 at that time. And then with a backup quarterback, they lose to Texas. And then Lagway comes back. And even though he wasn't able to run, they still beat LSU last week. So I really like the way these Gators are playing. There's a reason, I think, that they kept Coach Napier around. Now, Ole Miss has been absolutely dominant their last 2 games, blowing out Arkansas on the road and beating Georgia. But I like Florida plus the points here, and I think once again we've got a potential upset brewing.
I'm telling you, Phil's feeling the upset. You know, Phil, doesn't it always happen? Isn't there always one of those weekends in November where everything that we think we know gets turned on its head? Maybe it'll be this weekend. What about SMU? Yeah, go ahead, please.
And Matt, I think one of the reasons is the rankings come out, and so now the players on the team are like, hey, if we do this and if we do that, we could go there and we could go there. And then you find the teams that don't have the rankings to worry about, they're just concentrating on football. And that's why we see so many of these upsets in the top 10, top 12.
Another team right there is SMU. What a year in their debut in the ACC. They're at Virginia. SMU's a 10-point road favorite. Trap spot here maybe for SMU on the road?
No, because if SMU wins this game, they wrap up the ACC title game, so I think they're going to come in prepared. And I got to tell you, Matt, I had Notre Dame minus 21.5 last week, and that thing was 35-0 Notre Dame, 35-7 in the fourth quarter. Notre Dame gets inside the 10, stopped on downs at the 5. Notre Dame gets down there, kick the game-clinching spread field goal, miss it. And Virginia gets a damn touchdown with 18 seconds left. So not too happy with that outcome, but I think it shows you Virginia not quite on the level of a SMU. Or, you know, a couple weeks back they got blown out by North Carolina by 27 points. So I'm looking for SMU to go on the road and get a comfortable win here at Virginia.
Phil Steele's with us. He's on Twitter at PhilSteele042. Jump back into the SEC. Texas still with everything to play for. But the question, Phil, look-ahead spot. They haven't played A&M in a decade. We all know, more than a decade. We all know that. And here comes lowly Kentucky into Memorial Stadium there in Austin. Texas is a 20-point home favorite on a sleepy day, potentially in Austin. Any cause for a letdown there?
Yeah, it concerns me a little that with Kentucky, they haven't played a lot of good football this year, except when they're playing the top teams. You look at Georgia. They only lost by a point. They upset Ole Miss. And then even Tennessee, they only lost by 10. So their best spread games have all been against the top teams. They come in with nothing to lose. But looking at this matchup, I mean, you might say Kentucky blew out Murray State. Murray State's one of the worst FCS programs out there this year. So I'm not impressed by that. What I do look at is the previous 4 weeks where they were pretty much dominated by everybody. If I'm going to play the game, I would play Texas, but it is one of those potential sleepy spots where Texas starts looking ahead to A&M in the fourth quarter.
All right. Let's jump into the afternoon window there in the Big Ten with Penn State on the road at Minnesota. Penn State still trying to keep its hopes alive. The Nittany Lions are an 11.5-point road favorite. Row the boat, got a big effort in them?
I think they will give a big effort, but I still think Penn State's a better overall team. When you look at Minnesota, they're a team that's been built on the run game for the last, ever since Fleck got there, and they're not running the football this year. It's all been Max Brosmer. Penn State's got an excellent secondary. They also have an excellent run defense. I think they can shut Minnesota down here. And on the other side of the ball, I like the way the way Penn State is moving, especially since the Ohio State game. 35 points against an excellent Washington defense. discount the Purdue game. Purdue's not very good this year. But Tyler Warren should be the John Mackey Award winner this year. They've got the run game. I think they're capable going on the road. And then the thing is, James Franklin is outstanding as a larger favorite, double-digit favorite. He's like a 67% play. So I'm going to go with Penn State to get the double-digit win on the road.
What about the wacky Big 12? A couple of games I want to ask you about. We'll start with BYU at Arizona State. They finally caught some tripwire. BYU fell. Now they go on the road to Arizona State, who feel they still have, surprisingly, Big 12 and playoff hopes alive. Arizona State's a 3-point favorite there in the desert. Which way you lean?
You know, I think we were having an off-season conversation, Matt, and you brought up the fact that you thought BYU and Arizona State would be for a battle in the Big 12 title game.
Nailed it. I nailed it.
Wow, the Big 12 has really been something this year. And, ironically, BYU had all these close wins, right, and been outgained in a bunch of games. Last week they outgained Kansas 354-242 at a 23-13 first down edge and lost, sort of the opposite of what had been going on for their whole season, thanks to that fumbled punt return. But I tell you what, Matt, Arizona State impressed the hell out of me last week, going into Kansas State, leading that thing 21-0 at the half, total domination. They've got Scadaboo, they've got the defense, they've got a lot of momentum. If I'm going to play the game, I think it's tough to go against either of these two teams, but I'd go with Arizona State minus the 3. To me, the spread's a little cheap.
Okay. Staying out in the Big 12, and the big one everyone's going to keep an eye on is Colorado at the giant killer Kansas. Kansas, you've said it, Phil, much better than their record shows. Kansas catching 3 at home against Coach Prime and the Buffs. How do you see it?
Yeah, and I got two things going here, Matt. One is that Kansas is a very much under-the-radar team. You look at what they've done the last 4 weeks, it's remarkable. And all their losses, they led in the fourth quarter, much better than their record. Colorado's also got 8 straight spreads wins, and you know how I feel about that. So tell me which one of these you want to go against.
You're going to play the spread. You're going to play a winning streak because you're only going to lose. You win a bunch, you only lose one, so I'm guessing you're going Colorado.
If I had to, yeah, it would be tough. But I'll tell you what, Kansas did beat me against Iowa State. They beat me against Kansas State. Now, I've learned my lesson. I'm not putting any big money against Kansas, so a slight lean here to Colorado.
Let's jump in one in the SEC before a break. We'll get to the night slate. Missouri is at Mississippi State. Not a ton here, Phil, but State has really had a struggle of a season. Missouri, obviously with the quarterback issues there and injuries to Cook have slowed. In Starkville, State's catching 8 at home. Trying to get Jeff Lebby a conference win. Do they get it on Saturday?
I think the potential's there. You know, Missouri is a product of their schedule, I feel. They've played basically the softest schedule in the SEC. They had a soft non-conference slate. I'll give you an example. If Oklahoma played Missouri's schedule right now, they wouldn't be struggling to try to get to bowl eligibility. They'd have, 7 or 8 wins right now. So Missouri played a very soft schedule. Now, they did impress me in the second half against South Carolina. They were down 21-6. Somehow took the lead in that game in the second half. But I like the way Mississippi State's playing. They're trying to build momentum. Michael Van Buren. I think it's going to be a close game, come down to the wire. So I'll take the points with the home dog here.
Phil Steele is with us. We'll knock out a quick break, come back, get into the afternoon and evening games, including a couple of big ones in the SEC, Bama, Oklahoma, A&M, Auburn, and, of course, Vandy against LSU. We'll continue with Phil Steele on this Friday edition of AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
AFR.
Y'all, it is Christmas tree time over at Clegg's Nursery. They got the lots loaded up. They've had the pre-lit trees already for a while now, but if you shop on, you go check them out on Facebook, type in Clegg's Nursery, you'll see earlier this week the beautiful selection of trees, up to 12, 13, 14-foot trees, and everything in between. They've got them over at Clegg's Nursery. And, by the way, right now, their artificial pre-lit trees, 50% off if you're interested in that for your home, if you're not going with the real thing. But if you're like us, you're looking for the real thing, they got them over at Clegg's Nursery. All 4 locations, Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. The Moscona family Black Friday tradition. Next Friday, we'll be getting our tree over at Clegg's. But you can go get yours now. They got them at any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. Buy local, shop local. They've been doing it for more than 60 years. Merry Christmas, and tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Continue our chat with Phil Steele, previewing the biggest games of the college football weekend. Remember, you can always take that Phil Steele Plus tour. Go to philsteele.com, STEELE, philsteele.com. Phil, let's go up to the Bronx. Army, Notre Dame, they'll wake up the echoes. Both teams with playoff aspirations. The Irish, a 2-touchdown favorite. What do we think? The Shamrock Series uniforms looking good on the Irish. Can they get it done?
Yeah, I think they do, Matt. And in fact, my computer loves Notre Dame. It's got them 32-8 in this game. Wow. And you take a look at who Army's played. Toughest game on the schedule: North Texas, maybe East Carolina. Notre Dame, on the other hand, knows how to defend the option, and that's what I love best. Is when teams can put the option well. Last year they dominated Navy in Dublin, as you remember, 42-3. This year they beat Navy 51-14. Now that was fueled a little bit by +6 in turnovers, but they do know how to defend the option, and they've got a dynamic offense. Riley Leonard's been throwing the football well to go along with the running. Remember, he didn't have a touchdown pass first 3 or 4 games. Now he's got a 12-4 ratio. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, and they'll be well prepared for an undefeated Army. I'm going to go with Notre Dame to get a comfortable win here by more than the 14.
Boise and Wyoming, not much really on the marquee, but we got to pay attention to Boise as they're a team vying for that G5 spot. They're a 23-point road favorite there in Laramie. Any thought there that Wyoming might have a great effort against Boise?
I think Wyoming will give a good effort here. They're at home. They've changed a little bit on offense since they went to Caden Anderson at the QB position. Now, they struggled against Colorado State, and you just line up these two teams on paper, and Boise's clearly the better team across the board, both sides of the ball. However, this time of year, the net gets a little bit tighter. Boise doesn't need to impress anybody right now. They just need to win their final 3 games, and they'll make the playoff spot. So they don't need to win by 28 or 35 points. They just need to win. And I think laying over 3 touchdowns is dangerous at Wyoming. And, I know Genty, they want to push Genty for the Heisman, but you also have got a playoff spot in the bag if you continue to win. So I'm going to go with the home dog here. I think they keep it closer than expected.
Couple of SEC home dogs looking for big efforts as well. Bama is at Oklahoma. Phil, we've talked about OU this year. They've really struggled to find that marquee win, but at times they played well, especially defensively. OU coming off the bye. Bama played Mercer last week. OU's a 13.5-point home dog. Curious if Bama might be a little bit of a look-ahead spot here at the Iron Bowl next week.
Yeah, I think Bama will come fully prepared for Oklahoma in this one, in the fact that it's Oklahoma, it's your first time there, and Auburn's having a down year. So I think they will be prepared. But in the same token, I think when you look at Oklahoma, their defense is outstanding. I mean, they're holding opponents to 92 yards per game below their average. Earlier, I talked about Missouri playing the softest schedule in the SEC. Oklahoma's right up there for the toughest, along with Florida and Georgia. I mean, Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, at Missouri, at Auburn, and home to Tennessee. You can't get a much tougher slate, and they've been struggling through that schedule. Now, they've only got 5 wins. They need one more. Let's hope they don't need it when they come to LSU, but I still think Bama's the better team. I like Bama to win the game, but I think Oklahoma will keep it close.
All right, speaking of the Iron Bowl, the other half of that is Auburn, and they welcome in Texas A&M. And, Phil, this might be the stinky line of the week. Auburn, which has struggled so mightily all year, just a 2.5-point home dog with A&M coming in. Talk about look-ahead spots. A&M's got Texas in College Station next week. Tricky spot to go to Jordan-Hare. What do you think about this one with A&M, a 2.5-point road favorite at Auburn?
Yeah, and I think it's similar to last week's line where, remember, Kansas is only a 2.5-point dog to BYU on the road, and you're like, well, Kansas is a horrible team, which, as I talked about, they were not. Then, when we had our staff meeting last week, Matt, in the Kansas-BYU game, we're like, oh, man, the line's going to be 7, right? And this would be a great game for Kansas. Nope, line was 2.5. And this is the same thing. You take a look at Auburn this year. They are plus 92 yards per game in SEC play. They're basically outgaining everybody. Turnovers have been their culprit, and they've actually cut down on that. In the last 5 weeks, they're actually even in turnovers, which is really surprising. Now, Texas A&M, on the other hand, they were outgained by Arkansas. They were outgained by LSU. They were outgained by South Carolina. They were outgained as well. So in SEC play, they're only plus 19 yards per game. So statistically, Auburn's a better team. Auburn's at Jordan-Hare. Texas A&M is Texas on deck, a massive rivalry game, which, I mean, thank God as a college football fan, it's back. I love that matchup. And so I think everything is in Auburn's favorite in this game at home. I think Auburn pulls the upset here.
Phil, pulling the trigger. Auburn at home, Jordan-Hare. See if they can get it done with the Aggies coming in. Few more, and then we'll get to LSU and Vanderbilt. Phil's with us. He's on Twitter at PhilSteele042. Iowa State at Utah. Iowa State with still some big dreams alive. Utah, disappointing season. Boy, they came up short against BYU a few weeks back. What do we think here? Again, you always talk to us, Phil, about how difficult it is to go play in Salt Lake. That's what Iowa State's got to do here Saturday night.
Yeah, and I think Iowa State's a better team and could come out with the win, but I do like the home dog here. And you take a look at Utah, as disappointing as they are being on a 6-game losing streak, until the Colorado game, which was close in the fourth quarter. They gave up a couple of late scores. They could have easily beaten BYU. Their AD feels they beat BYU. They were just robbed. They go into Houston and lose by 3, TCU by 6. And I think the big thing with Utah, everybody's looking at, well, they were favored in those games and lost. But I think Utah's playing very good on defense. They probably have the Big 12's top defense. Iowa State's up there with them. I do think Iowa State's a better team, but this is the final home game for Utah, so I'll take the points with the home dog here.
Phil Steele likes Utah on the points. See if Iowa State can pull out the win. Just out of obligation because it's a great uniform game. Southern Cal at UCLA, USC at UCLA, one of the great rivalry games in college football. Neither team really doing super great, but both still have a shot at a bowl game. They got to get the 6 wins. If SC wins, they'll get the 6. UCLA needs to win their next 2 to get the bowl eligibility. Who gets it done at the Rose Bowl on Saturday night?
And I completely echo your sentiments, Matt. This is the best Jersey game out there. I love it when you see it on, and especially on the green grass of the Rose Bowl. That is just a tremendous setting. Now, these two teams have similar records, right? They're not similar. Let's take a look at UCLA. They've lost to Indiana by 21. They lost to LSU by 17, Oregon by 21. Penn State, they scored a late touchdown and only lost by 16. So they've had a lot of blowouts. Even last week against Washington, they were down 31-12, scored a touchdown with like 8 seconds left in the game to only lose by 12. Now let's look at USC. And everybody talks about what a horrible season they are. But, Matt, this team is 5 plays away from being 10-0. You go back to the Michigan game. Michigan needed a 4th-and-1 conversion at the goal line to beat them. Minnesota, they led by 7 and fumbled in the fourth quarter and ended up losing. Penn State, they led the entire game, sometimes by double digits, ended up losing in 2 overtimes. Maryland, they're kicking a game-clinching field goal. They're up by 6. And it's blocked. And then Maryland scores a touchdown and beats them. And then Washington, they're down by 5. Twice they got inside the Washington 10-yard line at the end of the game and got stopped on downs each time. Changed 5 plays. This team's 10-0. And my Vegas power ratings actually have them in the top 20, showing that strength. So I think when you're looking at the two teams, they're not similar. USC is the better team, both sides of the football. I like the Trojans to go into the Rose Bowl and come out there at the win. And they're playing with revenge as well.
Phil Steele, 1 to go. LSU, Vanderbilt. It has been a grind around here lately. Tigers have got to find a way to scratch out a win, Phil. It has been a minute. They're going to bust out these ugly gold jerseys. I don't know why they're going to do it, but they're going to do it. And try to find a way to get a win. Can they do it with Vandy coming in as a 7.5-point favorite? LSU, 7.5 against Vandy.
You know what the preseason line on this game was, Matt?
20?
28.
28.
Yeah. Now, had I offered you 7.5 at that time,
I'd have laid it in a heartbeat and said put everything I owned on it.
Man, hard to believe, isn't it?
Yes.
But I tell you what, Diego Pavia, is this guy just remarkable or what? I don't know how he does it, but he's willing the team to do. And they have, every time they've been over a touchdown underdog this year. They're 6-0 in that range. The only ways they haven't been, the only games they didn't cover, Georgia State, and then, of course, South Carolina, and then when they were a big favorite against Ball State. Other than that, they're just dynamite as a dog. So as much as LSU has more talent, LSU's at home. It's at night. I don't know if the crowd's going to be complete. What do you think the crowd's going to be like for this one, Matt?
75,000 maybe.
Okay. And I just, if I'm going to play the game, which I find it difficult to go against a team that I would have had a 28-point favorite in the preseason that's only laying 7.5, I'd probably lean a little bit with the underdog here, but I think LSU does win the game and finally ends that losing streak.
I don't care if it's 3-2. Just got to get a win. Just got to find a way to get a win. Phil Steele, hey, before you get out of here, let's remind people about the Phil Steele Plus Tour, as always, over at philsteele.com and on YouTube.
Hey, I appreciate that, Matt. Yeah, up right now, if you go to philsteele.com, right on the front menu there in the daily blogs is the Phil Steele Plus Tour with selections. You get 5 free selections, 5 quick hitters, and it's all absolutely free. You just click on it, takes you to the YouTube channel, and you can watch the video. Free selections right there, philsteele.com. Take the Phil Steele Plus Tour with selections.
Real easy. It's embedded right on the homepage. Go to philsteele.com. Make sure you subscribe. I tell you all the time as well, hit the bell when you get to Phil's channel so you're notified whenever that video posts. So that way you can be the first to play those games before lines move. philsteele.com. Phil, you're the best. We always appreciate it. Enjoy the football. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds great, Matt. You have a great weekend, my friend.
Do the very same. The one and only Phil Steele. It's AFR. We'll wrap up hour number 1 next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Glow Resources, GLO, glowresources.com. They are complete employer solutions, glowresources.com. Say it every day, I'll say it again. At Glow Resources, they are not a temp staffing agency. They're not looking for you, the employee. Who Glow Resources works with and for is you, the business owner. If you're struggling to hire the right people, you need Glow Resources. Yes, they specialize in skilled blue-collar labor, but their professional placement division, go talk to Casey over at Glow Resources. Does an amazing job. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's any type of office job, accounting, anything all the way up to C-level management, they can help you find the right people at Glow Resources. Corporate headquarters in Baton Rouge, offices all over the country, helping find people for jobs all over the world. It's Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. They are complete employer solutions. Glow Resources.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off the newly designed Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart...
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Yeah, he practiced today. The Garrett Dellinger watch is on. I think we'll still make it a game time decision because he's coming off of a surgery and want to make sure he feels great. So we'll probably list him as questionable until we get him through the workouts Saturday morning.
Garrett Dellinger watch is on. But it's hard not to pay attention to the Garrett Dellinger story. I mean, he's with Garrett Dellinger out, it's been massively consequential for LSU. I mean, this is a guy that's played in 41 career games. He started more than 30 times. And since he's been out, it's correlated with your 3-game losing streak. I mean, he got hurt late in the second quarter against A&M, and you have had a domino effect. I'm not saying that's the sole reason, but obviously, you couldn't block anyone on the interior against Florida. A big part of that was Dellinger wasn't there. Not only are you worse with Paul Mabinga, but that also lessens DJ Chester. So yes, it is significant. The real question is, if Dellinger does play, at what percentage is he? Is 70% Garrett Dellinger better than 100% Paul Mabinga? Maybe, but I sure want to find out, because this is a game where against Vanderbilt, there are matchup issues here. I mean, they are a physical defensive front. I mean, they limited Jalen Milroe in Alabama from running the football. Now they stink in pass coverage, but LSU ain't really been able to throw it. So, yeah, I do want Garrett Dellinger out there, and I do care if he plays. I don't want to pick Vanderbilt to win the game, but I might. So, yes, I want Garrett Dellinger out there. Dellinger watch. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. We are 6 days away from Thanksgiving. If you're hitting the road, my sister and her family are actually driving in from Kansas tonight for our family's Thanksgiving. If you're hitting the road, make sure you get to Shaw Bill's first. Shaw Bill's Tire and Auto Service. Name brand tires at wholesale prices. Go to ShawBillsTire.com to shop tires, to schedule service. Maybe you don't need tires. Maybe you need the oil change. Maybe you need your tires rotated. Check engine lights on before you hit the road for Thanksgiving. Check out Shaw Bill's. Shaw Bill's Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bill's, we keep you rolling. All right, tailgate segment. Hit it, Muse.
At LSU, we play hard, but we tailgate harder. Light your burner, fire up the grill. It's time for our Football Friday tailgate recipe of the week with Chris's Specialty Foods. 4 locations, or go to chrisspecialtyfoods.com.
It's not Coben in studio. It's Coben's mama is in studio. Trusty Leindecker's here with us from over at Chris's Specialty Foods. How are you?
I'm good.
Let's lift. Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, no, I know. Look, just bend that joint right there and pull the mic up. There we go.
Wow.
I know. Trusty, this mic will move however you need the mic to move. It'll move. They did a really good job designing this. It's great to see you. How are you?
Good.
So
Doing well.
Where's Coben?
Coben is slammed right now.
I believe it.
Yep.
Thanksgiving, we're 6 days away. You brought a side platter, and that's awesome for Thanksgiving. What did you bring?
Yeah, so I know like a lot of people out there, you're going to be going to family members' homes and you got to bring a side dish. So I thought I'd help everyone out here. We have some green beans, some cornbread dressing, which is like crack cocaine, some yams, and seriously, people flock to the stores to get our cornbread dressing. And then we have some mac and cheese. So we prepare everything. Everything's cooked. All you got to do is heat it up, put it in your own dish so it looks like yours, and bring it to wherever you're going.
I love it. And that's a cool thing because that's like a quad dish right there. So you get a little bit of everything in the whole to for the display. Hey, Muse, she said it looks like crack cocaine. It's not, okay? Stay over there, Muse.
Whoa. We went from weed to crack?
We went straight from weed to crack.
Chill out, bro.
That's what we did right there. Are these good also for tailgating sides?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, everything is cooked in-house. So all you got to do is just heat it up and then bring it out to the tailgate.
So how much would these feed? Like if you want to get one of these sides in a dish, like how many people would that feed? So if you're thinking for a tailgate, if you're going to be out there for LSU Vandy tomorrow and you want some of these sides, like what do you come in and get one of the little tins of, like how many would it feed?
Yeah, so we have them in 1-pounders, which feeds about 3 to 4 people. 2-pounders, double that. And then we have a big 8-pounder. That 8-pounder probably feeds 12, 15 people.
Okay, that's awesome. So that's great for Thanksgiving too if you have a big family.
Absolutely.
What about our protein? What about our meats that we have available for tailgating tomorrow or for Thanksgiving?
Yeah,
and we're not doing Thanksgiving orders anymore, right?
Well, you can still come into today.
Okay, yeah.
But you can come into the store. We have plenty of stuff in stock. All of our turkeys, fried turkeys, and smoked turkeys. But as far as tomorrow, our Highland location still has some openings for some platters. So if you want to do some sliders, we have brisket sliders, we have sausage, boudin, crackling. So we can pretty much make you whatever you need.
She said crackling, Muse. Crackling. Got them all hot. She said,
yeah, you see what they do to me here, Tressie? I mean,
sweetie.
they just, it's unbelievable.
She's such a mom. I know, sweetie. It's a grown man. I know, sweetie. So anyway, Chris's Specialty Foods. We've been talking about, so the Thanksgiving orders, like the online orders for shipping, that ended today, right? So no more there.
Right. So what we're trying to do is figure out, make sure we got enough birds in the house to fill all the orders. Like I said, we do have everything stocked in the store, so please come in and get it. By all means, we have a couple of people like Ryan Terrio, last minute. Can you please fry me a bird? And so we'll take care of you if you call.
So fried turkeys. What else do we have as far as the proteins for
so cooked, we'll do a fried turkey and a smoked turkey. Those will be cooked, and all you have to do is heat them up. Everything else in the store is raw. So all of our turducken rolls, our turkey rolls, our stuffed turkeys, our turduckens. We have an array.
Okay, it's all right there at the website, chrisspecialtyfoods.com. If you're watching, there it is right there. So back-to-back S's, chrisspecialtyfoods.com. Hit the Thanksgiving tab, and you'll see everything there. You get all the sides as well. Coben always talks about for deer hunters as well, processing?
Processing.
Okay, so how's that going?
It's going well. Opening day was, I think, last weekend, and people took advantage of that. So we've got ice chests stocked up. But it's a great business for us. Bring your deer in. We can debone it. We can process it, make you some sausage, some patties, whatever you need.
I always say I fully endorse people's right to go in the woods and shoot deer so I can eat them. I don't care about you. I'm not going to shoot a deer. I don't want to hunt, but I love to eat them. So if anybody, you kill a deer, you bring it to Chris's, they get it processed, and you want to give me some of your deer meat, I would love that. I very much endorse that decision as well. Okay. What else do we need? We got about a minute and a half. What else do we forget? Anything?
Now, I think that pretty much covers the platters for tailgating as well as Thanksgiving. But Christmas is right around the corner, and we do an amazing amount of gift boxes, gift baskets, wine, pretty much anything you need for family, friends, employees, customers. We can do anything.
We have one if you're watching. Here's one here with what do you have in there?
So I did a turducken roll, I did 2 sides, and I did a bottle of Camus.
That's amazing for clients. If you're a business looking for client gifts, the gift boxes from Chris's are awesome. I know we've done that here at Guarantee before to give to clients. It's amazing. Try it out, chrisspecialtyfoods.com, or go into any of the 4 locations. 30 seconds, LSU Vanderbilt.
Okay, so Vandy's getting 7.5.
Look at she's going going ATS.
I think LSU's going to play them close. I think it's going to be 24-21. Vandy's coming off of a bye, but I think LSU's going to win, but I'm going to take the points.
Wife of a coach. How about that? She knows what she's talking about. Thank you, Tressie. We appreciate it. Tressie Leindecker. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Remember, go to firstsouthland.com. We're moving toward the holidays. Maybe next year for the holidays, you want to be in that dream home that you and your family build. And as you're going to start, you need that 10, 20 acres somewhere. Maybe it's Clinton or St. Francisville or wherever you may be. Start with First South Farm Credit. Because since 1916, for more than 100 years, First South Farm Credit is where Louisianians have gone to buy land. So if you want to buy land for agriculture, farmers know about First South Farm Credit. But you want that recreational property, or you want that big tract of land that you can buy to build your family's dream home, where you can celebrate many more holidays, start with First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Less than 2 years ago, quarterback Daniel Jones signed a 4-year, $160 million contract with the Giants. Today, the Giants cut Jones after he asked for his release. ESPN's Bart Scott says Jones could become another team's insurance policy.
What if you're a contender like Minnesota and you don't know how your guy's going to be? You know what I mean? And you're saying, hey, Sam Darnold's a little shaky. Let's see in case he gets hurt. Let's see if we got 6 weeks to get him up to snuff in case we need him, because we're going to the playoffs and we want to make sure.
Bart Scott on Bart and Hahn, 880 ESPN. Patriot safety Jabril Peppers faces a jury trial in January on charges including strangulation and drug possession. He's been on the commissioner's exempt list for more than 6 weeks now. A jury in Ireland today finds that MMA fighter Conor McGregor sexually assaulted a woman in a hotel in 2018. The jury awarded the woman a little more than $250,000. He will appeal.
Guess what? Discover's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. You heard right, 99%. If you don't think so, maybe it's time to face facts. You're stuck in the past. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
That's right. Woo!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man!
Hey, shut up, kid. Cassie Spazzali.
I'm walking here. I'm walking here.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. No Terrio today. The Terrio girls are back into soccer season, so there'll be a few Fridays where Ryan's out at a soccer field. So that's today. And, of course, we love that he's being dad and go supporting his girls. Of course, absolutely do that. So Terrio, no, not here today. 15 minutes from right now, we'll talk to Matthew Bruni from On 3. LSU basketball lost to Pitt today in their opening game at the Greenbrier, 74-63. So Tigers got it within 5 late in the second half, but couldn't get any closer there. So 74-63, Tigers fall to Pitt in their first game at the Greenbrier Classic. So the Tigers will play again this weekend. It'll be either Wisconsin or UCF, one of the two. And I think that's the second game, so we don't know the opponent yet. But we'll talk to Matthew Bruni about that coming up here in about 12 minutes from right now. Sam Spiegelman next hour. I want to talk to Sam and get sort of a national perspective on the Bryce Underwood flip. If you weren't here at the start of the show today, I gave you my opinion on how LSU moves forward now without Bryce Underwood. because the reality is like he's not coming back. Like some people have asked, could they counter? Could they? No. My opinion, I don't know this for sure, but my opinion is that it was kind of like one of those Shark Tank scenarios. You ever watch that show Shark Tank where they're negotiating and one of the sharks will say, I'll do this deal, but you have to tell me right now. It's yes or no, or the deal's off the table. It kind of felt like that. Like Michigan made this Godfather offer to give us an answer or we're moving on. One of the things that I was told on Thursday evening was that around 4 o'clock, LSU representatives were having conversations with Bryce Underwood's attorney on their contract, like dotting I's, crossing T's. And then literally an hour later is when the news came that he was flipping. So somewhere, some way, something was either not communicated or was disingenuous or something dramatically turned. I'm certain from a Michigan perspective, they felt all along very good because they knew the hand they were holding. They knew they were willing to spend whatever they needed to spend to get there, so they would get there. That has to have been their perspective all along. And ultimately, we got there. The number that we shared with you was $12 million. 4 years, $12 million, $3 million per. LSU's number was half that. And I would submit to you that if you're trying to be smart in how you allocate your NIL budget, meaning from an LSU perspective, I would not want to spend $12 million on Bryce Underwood over 4 years or $3 million in 1 year. I would rather allocate those funds to other spots that are going to make you better. Maybe one of the best examples I can give you is something that LSU themselves saw. Back in 2016, LSU played in the Citrus Bowl that year against Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson was awesome. He won the Heisman Trophy on a 3-loss team because he, singularly, was awesome. Kind of like Jaden Daniels last year. Well, that Louisville team played LSU in the Citrus Bowl, and the Tigers won that game 29-9. Lamar Jackson ran over 20 times that day for just over 30 yards. Lamar Jackson, people, 2-time NFL MVP. Why? I don't know. Arden Key, Devon Gottschall, Kendall Beckwith, Duke Riley, Deion Jones, Jamal Adams, Tre'Davious White, Dante Jackson. LSU had an NFL defense. You know what LSU doesn't have right now? Players. So while, yes, absolutely, you wanted to keep Bryce Underwood. Yes, absolutely. I don't believe it was an at all costs. Because if you give me the option of Bryce Underwood and a defense like we've seen, or I can take that money and go allocate it to build up my roster, maybe to get Jakeem Stewart, to go into the portal and get a starting interior defensive tackle, to get a game-changing safety, to get a game-breaking wide receiver in the way Keon Coleman was a game-breaking wide receiver for Florida State out of the portal. Yeah. Make the entire roster better. Again, I feel like I have to qualify this every time I talk about it. I am not in any way dismissing Bryce Underwood, his talent, or the impact he could have had on this program. I am not dismissing that. I would absolutely want Bryce Underwood as part of this class and wearing the purple and gold the next 3 years. Yes. I would also not want LSU, considering it doesn't have the resume, the roster of billionaire donors lining up ready to throw $12 million at a kid that's never played. I would rather LSU take the funds it has and allocate them in a more appropriate manner. So they haven't done it yet, by the way, but how they finish this 2025 class and then the portal will be a reflection on how this staff managed this Bryce Underwood situation, meaning him flipping. Because now you got less than 2 weeks to the early signing period. Harlan Berry put out a tweet that he's not talking about Bryce Underwood. Had a home emoji and a tiger emoji, meaning he's staying home. DJ Pickett very quickly posted a picture of him on his Oregon visit and then very quickly deleted it. So there's a lot of people in recruiting circles who think DJ Pickett's going to end up at Oregon. We'll see. But I'll tell you this much. The three players that I was told last week that LSU was pot committed, they felt like they had to get, were Underwood, Pickett, and Jakeem Stewart. Well, Underwood's gone. Pickett might be, we'll see. And something I was told today is that Michigan, which you saw Jakeem Stewart tweet that he had been re-offered by Michigan, that Michigan is dumping a pile of money on Jakeem Stewart. And so LSU, while I think Jakeem Stewart wants to be at LSU, there's a relationship with LSU, there's a relationship with Frank Wilson, there's a relationship with Bo Davis, and LSU, I am telling you, has put a very, very handsome NIL offer on Jakeem Stewart. If Michigan goes and does for Stewart what they did for Underwood, you can't compete. Like, if they make up their mind, they're going to pay him whatever they have to pay him, you can't compete. But that's one to watch right now. The other thing worth watching is the potential impact on the LSU staff, because a lot of people have asked about Joe Sloan. And I don't want to be presumptive, but I can read tea leaves. Brian Kelly has involved himself in the play calling. He admitted that after the game. Brian Kelly, the guy who was his handpicked choice to come be his offensive coordinator when he got the job initially, was Tommy Rees. Tommy Rees decided to stay in South Bend. 1 year later, Tommy Rees became the offensive coordinator at Alabama. Well, now with Nick Saban's retirement, Tommy Rees is the tight ends coach and a passing game specialist with the Cleveland Browns. You don't think that maybe, just maybe, especially now that Bryce Underwood's no longer a part of this class, which was a huge key for Joe Sloan. I mean, his relationship with Underwood was a huge part of this. Now that doesn't hang over, or now that doesn't factor into any decision whatsoever. Now, I'm not saying that just because Bryce Underwood decommitted, Sloan won't be back as OC. But Brian Kelly is involving himself in play calling. He's clearly not happy with the way that's gone. You've got 2 games left. We'll see. Now the Underwood component is gone and Tommy Rees is still out there. You can read the tea leaves. Like, you don't have to be, you don't have to be a savant. You don't have to be an insider to see this, that Brian Kelly would like to bring Tommy Rees here. How might that look? I don't know. But that's another component of this that we have to consider and watch as we move forward. So, Devin Harper flipped to Ole Miss. Bryce Underwood flipped to Michigan. Derek Meadows is likely going to be next. Michigan is in the mix. Alabama has gotten in the mix. And quite honestly, if we're just sharing information, I'm not sure LSU is interested in getting into a bidding war for Derek Meadows. He's committed. They have an NIL offer on the table for him. As I understand it, they are not interested in increasing that offer in any way. I don't feel like it kind of feels like, let me give you an outside example to make this make sense. This week, 2 Alabama players flipped to Nebraska. That's not commonplace. If Nebraska wants to come in and overpay for guys in the middle of Alabama's class, then okay, that's just what you're going to let those people walk. That's kind of the situation with Meadows. I think they would like Derek Meadows to be a part of the class, but they're not going to go treat that like they would Jakeem Stewart or Bryce Underwood or DJ Pickett, if that makes sense. So I would not be surprised at all if Meadows ends up at either Michigan or Alabama out of the LSU class. The other one that Shea Dixon's told us for weeks is Mike Tyler, the 3-star tight end from South Carolina, who's from Columbia, South Carolina, who may end up staying home at Columbia, or maybe he ends up as part of the LSU class, don't know. But that's the other one worth watching. But if you're able to keep the core of this class together, if you keep DJ Pickett and Cade Phillips and Harlan Berry and Karius Kern and all the other guys we've talked about, you keep the core of this class together and you go supplement in the portal with the funds you have, and you get Nussmeier back, like, there's your path back to being nationally competitive in 2025, and then you take it from there in 26 to see how it goes. But keeping the rest of this 2025 class together is of the utmost importance. We'll see if they can do it. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com. If, you know what, we're getting toward the end of the year. This is something, I was over at the Williamson Eye Center last week. I was talking to Amber, who's the marketing director, and Kyle, who's the when you go for that the consultation, she does all the consultations. One thing that they told me they see often is people giving LASIK or giving a refractive procedure as a gift for Christmas and the holiday time. If you want to do that, like, they can help. They say sometimes, like, they'll have whole families come on surgery day for the patient who's having that refractive procedure. So you can give LASIK or give a refractive procedure as a gift, and they can help you do it, like with a presentation something physical that you can give as well. So just something to consider as we get closer to the holidays. It's the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Glad you're with us. We will do our picks here in about 45 minutes at the start of hour number 3. No Terrio today. Sam Spiegelman in 1 hour. We'll get the national perspective on Bryce Underwood's flip, so we'll get to that a bit later as well. Let me knock out a break. Come back. Matthew Bruni will be here. Basketball Tigers fall for the first time this season, losing by 11 to Pitt up at the Greenbrier Classic. How'd it go? What did we learn? We'll talk about it with Matty B next. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
Y'all, you got to give Duplessis Builders a call or pop on into the showroom. The Duplessis Builders showroom is on Airline Highway in Gonzales. If you're going south on Airline, like past Prairieville, it's on your right by it's next to the new Rouse's. And as a matter of fact, this makes it really easy to remember. The cross street is Duplessis Lane. So Duplessis Builders is on the corner of Airline Highway and Duplessis Lane. Sometimes there's serendipity in life. If you're thinking about building that backyard paradise, maybe you've been on the fence thinking about that outdoor kitchen, thinking about building that custom swimming pool, now is the time, and Duplessis Builders is the best option. I've told you the story before, but Derek has his mechanical engineering degree from LSU with a minor in aerospace engineering. Working as an engineer, built a pool for his sister, loved doing it, built 8 pools his first year, built 60 pools his second year. Now they're the fastest growing pool company in the area. Learn more at duplessisbuilders.net. That's duplessisbuilders.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Yes, Graham up top, Bailey back to Miller, hoist to three, got fouled and put it in. A chance for four, and LSU not going away yet.
Victorious Miller with the 4-point play, which got LSU within 5 with about 6 minutes to go. That'd be about the only uprising the Tigers had there late in the game as LSU falls to Pitt, first loss of the season for the basketball Tigers. They lose by 11 there at the Greenbrier. Matthew Bruni from On3, good enough to join us, talk about it a little bit. Matty B, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing well. Staying busy, obviously, with basketball and football and everything going on.
For sure, man. Obviously, with me doing the show, I didn't get to watch a minute of this basketball game. So, give me the lead here. What was the story?
I'd say LSU's offense was kind of overwhelmed. The guard play just wasn't good enough. Pitt is a really, really good team. Top 16 in Ken Palm, going to be a top 25 team for most of the year. And I think their guard just kind of overwhelmed LSU. LSU went 8 minutes almost without scoring in the second half to start it off. There were just too many offensive droughts for LSU to overcome here. And Pitt's a good team, so that athleticism and, rebounding that LSU had against Kansas State didn't really translate.
Why not? Rebounding, why not?
No, I mean, they rebounded enough. They had enough misses to go get them. But I think in general, if you're not making shots on the perimeter, it just gets too congested. Matt McMahon talked about it after the game. They had to go with a smaller lineup late to try to spark the offense, and it worked. They cut it, like you said, they cut it within 5, but ultimately, when you go that small, they weren't able to rebound. They weren't able to get the stops they needed to at the end.
One storyline, I guess, is maybe worth mentioning here. Derek Fountain made his return. What did we see from Fountain? How did he sort of reassimilate back into the lineup?
Yeah, he's getting there. I think rebounding for him and just kind of being an active player is important. Another note from this game, Damian Collins left at the end of the first half with an apparent shoulder injury. He missed most of last year with that shoulder injury, so the hope is that it's not as bad as it was last year where it had to get surgically repaired. So if Collins has to miss any times, then Fountain and Corey Chess become really, really important off the bench in the front court.
Victorious Miller had another nice day, 14 points off the bench. We kind of continue to spotlight him here. It was very obvious from the first time I saw him, he's an NBA player. I mean, sometimes you can just tell, and he's one of them. What was your thoughts on how Miller played today?
Yeah, he's awesome to watch. I mean, he only went 3 of 6 from the field, but got to the line 7 times, 6 of 7 there. I think early on he had 2 turnovers that really kind of showed, he's a freshman playing against a good team. But then he cleaned it up, and I thought he played really under control the rest of the game. When he gets to his spot, he's just so tough because he can elevate and shoot. Hit 2 threes, which had been a trouble for him throughout the season. But yeah, he's just a huge spark for them off the bench, especially with the starters in this game, just really struggling from 3.
Yeah, Miller notwithstanding, you did mention that the guard play for Pitt kind of controlled the day. The backcourt seems to be the strength of this LSU team so far. So what, if anything, do we make of that matchup today?
Yeah, I'm not too worried about Cam Carter. I think Carter will be okay. He went 0 for 5 from 3. I think he's going to be okay in terms of looking ahead to SEC play. Jordan Sears is probably the more concerning part here. We knew going in he's a small guard, 5'10", 5'11", and he ends the game with 6 turnovers, 2 of 8 from the field. He I'm just not sure he can be that, lead guard that can control an offense, run a ball screen, and get everybody a good look. He kind of has to be a complementary player at times. So that's probably the more concerning part. I'm not worried about Cam. I think he'll be fine. You have Victorious who could fill it up. So I think they'll shoot better moving forward, but it still was, I think, the most concerning from that perspective.
What's next here for the Tigers? It'll be I guess they'll play the loser of UCF and Wisconsin.
Yes, so the Wisconsin and UCF are playing right now. It's 14-8 in the first half. Wisconsin's 19th in the country. UCF is a good team. They beat A&M to start the year in Orlando. So either way, it's going to be a tough game. And I said going into this weekend, if LSU can just win one of these two games, you pair that with the Kansas State win, and you're off to a really, really good start to the year. So that's still on the table. Pitt is better than Wisconsin and UCF, in my opinion, so they'll have a shot.
Matthew Bruni on 3. Get him on Twitter, X at Matthew Bruni, BRUNE _ at Matthew Bruni _ Tigers fall for the first time this season, 74-63 to Pitt there at the Greenbrier. All right, Matty B, we appreciate it, man. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Matt.
All right, man. Be well. We appreciate it. Tough one for LSU. We'll see how they can bounce back in. You're not going to win them all, but I do like challenging yourself. And while Pitt's an unranked team, that's a 6-0 team. You heard him say, talented veteran team, and LSU struggle. I'll be interested as they continue to go through this preseason, this pre-conference slate, how they continue to develop and what roles emerge, because it's a team that, half of your contributors and your top 3 scorers from a year ago are all gone now. Tyra Ward obviously is no longer on the team as well, so he's likely pursuing the transfer portal. I'll be curious to see how this pre-conference slate continues to develop for LSU. They've got a nice win over Kansas State on the road. We'll see if very likely, let's assume they play UCF tomorrow. Maybe you get that one. Then you're home against Northwestern State. And then you get a game against Florida State on the SEC Network. So there are some opportunities there. You also get a game against SMU, which is, of course, an ACC school now. So you've got some opportunities there in the pre-conference to challenge yourself, to help your net ranking, and also to get some wins. So we'll see how this game goes with Wisconsin and UCF, and who the Tigers will line up against tomorrow. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Sign and Drive is going on. Y'all, 2 things. We're getting near the end of the month, which the end of the month is always the best time to go buy a vehicle. Got to move inventory at the end of the month. And then also, Sign and Drive is going on, which is the best deal of the entire year. It's 0 down, 0 due at signing, no first month's payment, 0 security deposit. All you do is you sign your name, and with little else, you're driving away in a brand new vehicle from South Point Volkswagen. Go to southpointvw.com. That's southpointvw.com. New or certified pre-owned, all the dealer specials. You can even work out your financing at the website at southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? We'll do Tigers and the Pros here in about 15 minutes from right now. Sam Spiegelman next hour, as we get sort of a national perspective on the Bryce Underwood flip. Steve Wiltfong, by the way, was from On 3, did have this to say about Underwood. He was asked if this was on 3 Sports Today, if the Underwood flip was a surprise. This is what Steve Wiltfong said.
Well, I think we knew the whole time that Michigan was going to make it very hard on LSU to keep them in the fold. And so we're just waiting for the situation to continue to develop. And obviously, yesterday was the day, right, for it all to come into fruition. And even his commitment, I'm told, was quick. Like, he just called and said, hey, I'm coming. So took the visits during the week. Obviously, all the NIL infrastructure resources gets ironed out. Some conversations are had. I think his family wanted him at Michigan. He came around on it as he continued through his process. Anytime you report on Bryce Underwood right now, everyone's in your comments talking about it being solely about NIL. But if he thought Michigan wasn't going to be able to develop him, if his family thought that Michigan wasn't going to get the best out of him as a player, he's not going to go to Michigan.
That's just really hard to believe. Like, there was a an interview that Bryce Underwood did on Crane and Company back in the summer in Nashville at that On3 event. And the guys asked him why he picked LSU, and it was David Cohn, who played quarterback at Michigan, by the way, and Blaine Crane. And they asked him why he was going to LSU, and he point blank said development. And he pointed to the fact that Michigan hadn't developed quarterbacks and that they don't have an offense conducive to that, which is true. I mean, there's only a handful of teams in all of college football worse at throwing the football right now than Michigan. So, listen, this is not a sour grapes thing. It's hard. I know that's just done this for so long. Like, anytime a school loses a commitment, and if you say anything other than melt, it just sounds like sour grapes. And I don't know that I could be any more clear about this. Like, it sucks. The optics of it are terrible, especially amid a 3-game losing streak. When vibes are already low because this season, which at one point looked so promising, has just completely unraveled. And then amid that, you lose Bryce Underwood. That's awful. Like, I'm not in any way dismissing that. It's also like these two things can be true at the same time. The other part is also that if you are trying to suggest that Bryce Underwood's flip has anything to do with anything other than money, you are being equally disingenuous. This kid was committed to LSU for almost a year. And it's not things that I'm saying or the media is saying or people are inferring. These are things that he, from his mouth and his family, have said for a year. There is nothing that caused this except money. Take Michigan out of it. What if it was SMU with boatloads of billionaires and they went to Bryce Underwood and said, hey, Bryce, we're going to pay you $12 million. Do you know where Bryce Underwood would have flipped Thursday night? He'd be going to Dallas, okay? It ain't hard to figure out. It's money, and that's okay. I wish my school had a roster of billionaire boosters ready to pay a kid $12 million who's never taken a snap. What a life that would be. And I'm not mad at Bryce Underwood at all, because if that were my son, I would tell him to do the same exact thing. Yes, you're going to take $12 million and go play at Michigan. Michigan's a great school, great history, great tradition, all that stuff. Great fans. They're going to pay you $12 million. Yes, you were going to Michigan. At some point, like, the adult in the room has to step up and say, yes, this is life-changing. You're going to take this amount of money. So I do not begrudge Bryce Underwood one iota. I am just going to keep pushing back on the idea that this was, and like, if you're trying to tell me Sharon Moore came in and did a great job with the relationship building, like, kick rocks. No. Sharon Moore sat back while the CEO of, or the founder of Oracle stroked a $12 million check, while Dave Portnoy committed $3 million a year for, like, whatever, however they pieced it together. Don't tell me this was a great recruiting job when for a solid year this kid didn't step foot on Michigan's campus. Let's just be honest with ourselves here. That's all I'm asking. As an LSU fan, you can acknowledge this sucks, all the reasons it sucks, why it hurts, everything. But similarly, everyone outside of the LSU fan base has got to also acknowledge the reality that this is a money play and nothing else. And that's okay. Like, my hand's in the air. There's nobody more pro NIL than me. But we have seen this for as long as college athletics have existed. It's just that now it's above the table and the dollar amounts are higher. And if you got some rich guy willing to pay, whether it's $120K or $12 million, the concept is the same. And that's what college athletics has been. Don't pretend like it hasn't been. You just know about it now. It's that old Churchill line. Man goes up to a woman, very erudite, classy, says, "Would you sleep with me for $1 million?" She said, "Well, sure I would." Says, "Well, would you sleep with me for $5?" Said, "Of course not. What type of woman do you think I am?" Says, "Well, we've already established that. Now we're just haggling over price." That's college athletics. If it was $12,000 or a bag of cash under the table 20 years ago, or $12 million in the open now, it's the same concept. You're still buying a player. We just know about it now. It's no different. And your school has done it, and my school has done it, and everybody's school has done it. We're just talking about dramatically different amounts of money now. All right. It's after further review. Went a little long. Let me knock out a break. Come back. Brian Kelly with a few thoughts previewing Vanderbilt as LSU tries to go get a dub. We'll hear from BK next, AFR.
After further review.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. You know, I tell you every day about Darren James. Wall Street Journal's Real Trends list the top 1% of realtors in America, number 13 in the country, number 1 in Louisiana. And that's awesome. And I can tell you that, and that alone should be validation to say why you should call Darren James if you're selling your home, because he literally sells more homes than anyone. But why he sells more homes than anyone is as much a part of that as anything. You see, Darren works tirelessly. He's also got all the latest technologies and marketing tools that help him promote his listings, your home, to find buyers, to get to closing tables faster than anyone else and for more money. And you will have an enjoyable experience when you work with Darren James. Call my friend Darren James. Look him up at agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Let's talk turkey. Bayou Ford can get you in a new 2024 Ford F-150 with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off America's favorite F-150 truck. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Join us at Pro Dreams in Mandeville for our special event, A Day of Champions. Meet LSU National Championship winning head coaches Jay Johnson, Skip Burtman, and Paul Maneri. Don't miss your chance to purchase authentic sports memorabilia, autographed by the champions themselves. It's the perfect opportunity to celebrate LSU baseball and take home a piece of history. Visit pro-dreams.com to get your tickets. See you there.
It's an everyday thing here. We work horses in the mornings and we work on the property during the day, and without these John Deere tractors, you know, it'd almost be impossible to keep up with the place. I've dealt with some of the other colors and stuff, and I never really got the response back that I get from John Deere, you know. We really enjoy dealing with Sunshine. They're good people. They always check on us and make sure our equipment's running, and we love them. Flip the switch and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Exactly the way I thought they would, look, I mean, over the last 3 years, they've won a lot of games, and they have a lot of pride, and they know what the standards are here at LSU. We haven't played very well the last 3 weeks. They know that. Everybody knows that. Everybody that watches LSU football knows that. They want to play better football, and we want to coach better. We want to play better. And so they responded the way that I thought they would.
Brian Kelly, final media availability before the Tigers return to Tiger Stadium, take on Vanderbilt, the penultimate game of the regular season. Certainly it's been disappointing, and the next 2 weeks are great indicators of things, those sort of abstract terms and phrases we always throw out, like want to and buy-in and all that sort of stuff. Culture. If you go out the next 2 weeks and play your best 2 games of the season, it's not going to make anybody feel better about the losses, but it will be an indicator that this coaching staff hasn't lost the locker room as some have suggested, that you still have great buy-in from this team. You have good leadership. One thing that has largely been my contention is that I do think LSU plays very hard. I just don't think LSU, especially on the defensive side, is very talented. And I know that's hard to hear, to think, to recognize and resolve, because we think of LSU and we think it's supposed to be different. But the reality is it's just not with this team. You're just not a super talented football team, in particular on the defensive side of the ball, which is why you got to go get way better talent in this recruiting class and in the transfer portal. So we'll see if they're able to do that in this offseason. But all that said, you have enough players to go beat Vanderbilt on your home field, and you should do that. Speaking of buy-in and all that stuff, one of the things that Brian Kelly was asked was about Garrett Dellinger. And, of course, we know Garrett Dellinger suffered the injury in the second quarter against Texas A&M, and since then, LSU's offense has spiraled. There's no other way around it. You've really struggled to protect. You've tried to even find balance in your offense, but you've struggled to finish drive, and there's been a lot of mistakes. But Dellinger's a senior who's got 2 more games left in Tiger Stadium, this week against Vanderbilt and next week against Oklahoma. And Brian Kelly was asked if Dellinger, if they've had conversations about him not returning, about him just getting healthy and focusing on the draft.
Yeah, I don't make those calls. My most important role here is to have players available and ready to play on Saturday. And we're certainly not going to put them in a position where, we would injure a player. If they're cleared to play, if they're cleared to practice, then I can go work with them. He's been cleared, and that really then becomes a personal decision if you decide that you don't want to play. That's up to the individual. He's not that kind of guy. He's going to do whatever is necessary for him to go out and play and help his teammates.
So Dellinger working back with a tightrope injury. I mean, we saw this a year ago with Mekhi Wingo. Mekhi Wingo had an abdominal surgery and came back for the bowl game. When most guys sit out the bowl game, opt out of the meaningless bowl game, Mekhi Wingo battled back from an abdominal surgery to play in the bowl game. That suggests culture and buy-in. Garrett Dellinger, a senior who's played a ton, could very easily now with this team at 6-4 and none of its goals on the table, opt out, get healthy, and start getting ready for the combine. Instead, he's working his way back. That does suggest buy-in and culture and all those things. And Brian Kelly also talked about Caden Durham, who, we told you when we reported over at LouisianaSports.net about the dislocated toes against South Alabama. I'm not sure anybody else reported that. Some have questioned if that was the injury. Brian Kelly said it point blank on Thursday night.
I don't know that enough people have talked about the kind of injury that he's had, that he's played through. Dislocation of 2 toes, playing with a steel plank in his shoe, would limit anybody, right? especially a running back, and he's fought through that. I think what's more remarkable as a freshman, his ability to go and play with that kind of injury and still give us everything he has.
Well, part of the reason nobody's talked about it more is because he never came out and said what the injury was or described it in that detail. But yeah, that's true. So you have had buy-in from guys on this team. I do believe guys have played hard. There are times where you can look back and you can say it looked like they laid down. I mean, the Ole Miss game and the Kentucky games in 2021 were case in points for me. The Ole Miss game where Damone Clark had like 21 tackles in that game. Like, it looked like he was the only guy trying at that point. And that happens, and it's disappointing when it does. This doesn't feel like that. It just looks like a team that is deficient in talent in spots. They need to fix that deficiency, and hopefully they're good enough on Saturday to go beat Vanderbilt, get to Oklahoma next week. Because, listen, this is still the same team and the same group of players that beat Ole Miss. I mean, an Ole Miss team that is very likely going to be in the college football playoff. They have it in them to play well enough with their limitations to still win. They just haven't done that well enough over the past month. We'll see if they can Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. Of course, we'll get you some picks on all the SEC games, including LSU and Vandy, coming up in hour number 3. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, with more than 30 offices across 11 different states, 6 in Louisiana alone. They just last year expanded their calibration lab in Harahan. Gorgeous facility, man. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. ISO 17025 accreditation is available. You can check them out. They've got their TRAC system as well. It's an acronym: Track, Records, Assets, and Calibrations, TRAC. It allows you 24/7, 365 access to all of your calibration certificates. So let's say you get audited. Immediately, boom, at your fingertips, you have all of the access to all those calibration certificates, all the way down to the name of the technician that calibrated your precision measurement devices. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. More than 75 years in business. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. All right, glad to have you aboard with us here. If you're just knocking off of work, jumping in the car on this Friday, wondering where's Terrio. The Terrio girls have a soccer game today. So Ryan not here today. All good. So we plot on. Phil Steele was here in hour 1. We just had Matthew Bruni from On 3 talking about LSU Tiger basketball. Tigers lost for the first time this season. 76-65? I'm looking for the final. 74-63, excuse me. 74-63 was the final. Tigers lose for the first time this season. We will have Sam Spiegelman in 30 minutes. Sam does a great job. Covered LSU recruiting. That was a national recruiting guy. I want to get Sam's national perspective on the Bryce Underwood flip and what else may happen heretofore for LSU. So we'll get to all that. Well, now I got a break. Come back. Wrap up hour number 2. Muslav Tigers and the Pros. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Man, it's been my pleasure for more than a year now to tell you about Action Industries, a proud partner of LSU Athletics, proudly serving the petrochemical and refinery markets in Louisiana since 1982. I mean, 42 years. What I'm going to have the great pleasure to tell you about even more now over the next 6 months to a year is the Advanced Turnaround Group. So it's Action Industries, and it is their turnaround division. So it's the same company. It's the same company that's been around for 42 years, the same management, the same great values. It's their turnaround division. It's the Advanced Turnaround Group. They have assembled a core group that built their careers on turnaround execution. They're not just taking any worker and throwing them in the turnaround world. It's a completely different pool of resources within the same company. It's the same people at Action with workers that are proficient in turnaround work. To learn more, check them out. ActionIndinc.com for Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off the newly designed Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The best kept secret.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Remember, T-Bob and I will be at Don Juan Saturday as soon as the game goes final. LSU and Vanderbilt. We'll be live for Whiskey and Wine on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel and Facebook. If you're on YouTube, thanks for being there. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a video or go live. We're also on thank you. We're also on WBTR Channel 19. We always appreciate our TV partners and all of our affiliates and everybody for listening, watching, however, wherever, whenever you may be. So thanks for being there with us. But T-Bob and I will be at Don Juan. Come on, hang out with us at Don Juan Cigar Bar for the game or immediately after the game for Whiskey and Wine. Probably be a late one too, because there is no slide for this game. So I think it's listed at 6:45, but sometimes there's a window where they could slide the kickoff based on the game before it if it's delayed. As I understand, there is no slide for this game. So kickoff for LSU and Vanderbilt is 6:55 p.m. That is when toe will meet leather when they actually kick it off. Will be 6:55 p.m. So they start at 6:55, 10:30-ish. We should start Whiskey and Wine, finishing around midnight. So be a late night, but hopefully it's a late night celebrating a Tiger win because we all desperately need one. God bless you. It's the chair. Paul sits in that chair.
Sneezes all the time.
I mean,
poor Paul, man.
Poor Paul. Paul just took some vacation days, if you're wondering. That's why he's not here. Just took some vacation near the end of the year. So Cassie's there. And thank you for hanging out, Cassie. But Cassie just keeps sneezing. Maybe it is the chair.
It could be.
We'll talk to someone who might be able to get a new chair. I know I struggled for literally a decade to get new chairs in here. So I may not, even though I'm the boss, I may not be the right person. Like, I need to go to my bosses, plural, to see about that. But maybe we can make it happen.
Maybe.
The dander on the chair. How was that crack, Muse?
Dude, that stuff, and by when you mean crack, he means the stuffing from Chris's Specialty Foods was really good.
Yeah. Tressie was in here and said, like, it's like crack cocaine. People love their stuffing over there.
It was good. Recommend it.
10 out of 10?
10 out of 10.
Love it. Muse, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Really good game last night on Thursday Night Football. Gotta love a snow game. Browns and Steelers.
No, you don't gotta love it, Muse. Not when you had the halftime full time.
So close, man.
Oh, plus 650.
I know. So close.
Ah!
I thought we were going to make it there. especially when Dante Jackson intercepted the ball late in the game. Part of a huge night for Dante Jackson. 3 stops, that pick. He also recovered a fumble in the game as well. He was all over the field for Pittsburgh. Grant Delpit, once again,
close,
seems like it was. I was mad. Like I was happy for Jameis, wanted him to win, but I was also like, can you not do this right now?
I'm not happy for him at all.
Seems like every time we do the Browns in this segment, we talk about Grant Delpit leading the team in tackles. He did it again last night. Double digits this time. 10 stops. One of those came for a loss. So shout out to the former LSU defenders out there doing work. Slow night for Naz Reid off the bench.
Should have stayed.
Just 2 points. And just 4 boards. He was 1 of 8 from the floor, Matt. That's rough for Naz. See if he can pick it up again next time. And a couple injury updates to get you updated on here in the NFL. Told you earlier, Damian Lewis missed practice this week with an illness. He is no longer on the injury report, so he is good to go for the Panthers against the Chiefs. Malik Neighbors is questionable officially for the New York Giants with a groin. And Jaquelin Roy out with a neck for the Patriots.
He's got a neck?
He's got a neck. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Parish Restoration. Kill mold, remove odor, the patented non-toxic dry fog. I was talking to Jim Woodworth today. 3 different fogging jobs today from AFR listeners. Love y'all, man. Thanks for being so supportive of our great partners over the years. Parish Restoration, patented non-toxic dry fog, kill mold, remove odor, great remediation, commercial building or residential. It's parishbuilt.com. Hit the restoration tab, parishbuilt.com. Here's SportsCenter.
AFR.
I lied. SportsCenter's coming up after this break. Hey, Muse, you notice I'm a little dressier today than normal?
I did notice you're a little dressier today than normal, actually.
Got a Mizzen and Main shirt tucked into the slacks.
That's what gave it away, the tucked in.
The tucked in?
Yeah.
You know what I got in the car?
What you got in the car?
A sport coat.
Ooh. Why you got that?
Going to dinner tonight.
Okay, a little fancy dinner. Where are you going?
Where am I going? It's a supper club night. Erica asked me earlier this week. She said, hey, can we go to dinner on Friday? I said, you damn right we can go to dinner. Where do you want to go? Where do you think we're going? Going to supper club. We'll be there tonight, 6:30 reservation. Hope to see you there. If you don't have a reservation, remember, open seating at the bar. You can always walk in, grab a cocktail, a glass of wine, have an amazing meal. Maybe you get lucky. You get a bar table open up, and you can have dinner there. It's at Supper Club. Book your reservation. Holiday parties available as well. SupperClubBTR.com. SupperClubBTR.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy and defensive lineman Nick Bosa are both out for Sunday's game against the Packers. Purdy with a sore right shoulder, Bosa with left hip and oblique injuries. The Giants cut quarterback Daniel Jones today. He'll go through waivers, but it's unlikely another team will pick up the rest of his 4-year, $160 million contract. So what are Jones's options? ESPN's Mina Kimes.
One is to play for a team that desperately needs a quarterback. The one that everyone's got their eye on is, of course, the Dallas Cowboys, who are playing the Giants on Thanksgiving, which would honestly make that game infinitely more entertaining, so I wouldn't mind that outcome personally. The Raiders also are another team that's obviously been in a bit of a spin cycle with their quarterbacks.
Mina Kimes, who also says Jones could choose to join a contending team as a backup. Buccaneers coach Todd Bowles says wideout Mike Evans will play Sunday against the Giants. He's missed the last 3 games with a strained hamstring. Eagles wideout Devontae Smith out against the Rams Sunday with a hamstring injury.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Commercial Insurance. It flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
Show up. Hour 3 off we got. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Cassie Spezzali.
I'm walking here. I'm walking here.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Sam Spiegelman here in about 12 minutes. We'll get the national perspective on the Bryce Underwood flip from LSU to Michigan. This is when we do no Terrio today. The Terrio girls have a soccer game, so he's out. Let the record show, Muse, that I did text our friend Mr. The Riot, and I asked him if he wanted to call in to make his picks. He has not replied to me.
You texted him. Oh, wait a minute.
Okay, do we have a call?
We have a call.
Let's see if maybe this
AFR.
is Mr. The Riot.
All right, hold tight.
Is this Mr. The Riot?
It is Mr. The Riot.
Okay, all right.
Said he needs to make his picks.
Well, I was just a little curious here. I mean, I texted him. I never heard from him. I was just saying. I am trying to be a benevolent radio-tater. Because as we have learned, Muse, this is a radio-tatership, not a radiocracy. And I could have done what you two goons tried to do a couple of weeks back.
Not what we did.
But off with your heads in this radio-tatership.
It almost got you that time.
All right, Mr. The Right, how are you?
Hey, Matt.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm at Central Lafourche High School.
That sounds so
beautiful.
fun.
It's gorgeous.
We have got to get a new picture for when you're not here. The picture is like, well, actually, you go through these cycles where you have short hair, you have long hair. Like this is a picture where you have very long hair.
Yeah.
You have a backwards hat, and you have like you're doing the Bo Jackson pose with the bat over your shoulders.
I was like right in the middle of a dirty bulk, and I had long hair.
Yeah. It's just not. We can do better. We can do better. I fancy you more in these days of like a, I don't know, like a CEO headshot type deal. You know what I mean? Like in the parish office, something like that, sweater vest, like that kind of look.
Sweater vest, quarter zip, just making deals, making things happen.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think. Anyway, Cassie, did you update the standings for today? It's okay if not. Paul's not here. Do we know? Yes?
I did not, but Paul sent it to me.
Oh, he updated them?
Yes.
Oh, look at, see, Mr. The Right, this is why Paul, you're our guy. I mean, he's not even here. He's out 2 days, took some vacation. Before he left, he updated the standings after last week.
He's a guy.
He's a guy. All right, Muse, hit me with the music, if you would. And then let's see how the standings look right now. I don't even remember how we did last week. So I went 5-2, you went 4-3. So I gained a game on. Wait, that's not right. We didn't. That's only 7 games. We do 10 games. That's not right.
I think Paul, he told me earlier in the week, he might have just typoed it. I think he said you went 8-2, and Terrio went 4-6.
Okay, he typoed that then.
Yeah.
So there's something also that's wrong on this because it has me now up
at 90. Yeah.
By 15 games.
I think he forgot to change the bottom, or is that last year?
Oh, that's 2023. Yeah, that's not it.
Paul sent the wrong one.
Paul sent you the wrong graphic?
Jeez.
I just went and gave the guy a compliment.
You gotta take it back.
Yeah. I went and gave the guy a compliment. Look how much he screwed up. So he said I went 8-2.
And I think he said Ryan went 4-6. That's what I'm remembering.
Ooh.
Something like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, he may have said that. We're going to need to see some proof. But regardless, it doesn't matter. It's all good.
We did go head-to-head on a few games last week. Like Tulane and Navy was one. I had Tulane, you picked Navy. There were a couple in there that I know I got back, but I'm not. We both had LSU, and we both lost with that. But anyway. All right.
Yeah.
So when Paul gets back, I guess we'll see what the actual count is. So
sort it out.
We'll sort it out. Okay, Mr. The Right, 10 games, only picking winners. You know the drill. And again, I, in my benevolence, have allowed you the opportunity to come here and choose games instead of trying to pull a fast one like you and Muse did a few weeks back.
What a guy. What a guy.
I know. All right, let's start with the big one at the Horseshoe. Indiana. Mm-hmm. Undefeated Indiana at Ohio State. What do we think, Mr. The Right?
Man, I love Indiana. I think they're a hell of a club. Ohio State hasn't played great this year, for a whole game. But I think they're going to win this one. I think they're better than Indiana, but I do like Indiana, so I'm going to pick Ohio State.
Okay, I'm there with you. I'm going to take Ohio State as well. I would love to be wrong. You're going to give me 11 points with Indiana. I'm going to take them. I'm going to hope that the Hoosiers pull the upset, but I'm going to take Ohio State for the sake of our little game here as well. Ole Miss is at Florida. You think the Gators found a little something last week, or do the Rebs go on the road and get the win?
No, I don't think so. I think the Rebels are going to win. I think Florida's not that good, and I don't think LSU is very good. So I think the Rebels get this one.
Trey Harris is back. Ole Miss. Phil Steele, by the way, took Florida in the points, didn't he? I don't know. I don't know. I agree with that, man. Trey Harris back. Ole Miss healthy, rested, a lot to play for. Whew. All right. Penn State is at Minnesota in this game. Up there in the frigid temps. row the boat. PJ Fleck, who you got?
Yeah, somebody's going to get upset this week. I don't think it's going to be this game. I think Penn State's going to win, but I am going to pick one. Give me Penn State here for this one.
All right, I'm going to go Penn State as well. I do like. Didn't feel like Penn State to cover earlier too. I'm in all kinds of disagreements with him this week. But he's way smarter than me. This might be a week where I don't do well. All right, this is one where we'll probably differ. Maybe not. BYU at Arizona State. Does BYU bounce back? Does Arizona State make their push toward the Big 12 championship game?
Man, you know I like BYU. I do. Yeah, give me BYU here.
All right.
I'm taking those guys.
I'm going to go with Kenny Dillingham and the Sun Devils. They've been playing good football, and I just think BYU played with fire for a long time. They should have lost to Utah. They finally got tripped up by Kansas. It was this weird confluence of circumstances against Kansas State right before the half where they were getting drubbed. I think Arizona State's better right now, so I'll take Arizona State. I might feel differently if that one was in Provo, but it's in Arizona. Okay. Coach Prime and the Buffs at Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas.
Oh man.
Rose up and tripped up BYU last week.
Dude, I picked against Prime last week, and he made me pay for it.
Yeah, he did.
That was one that you picked up for sure. Good night. Give me Kansas here. Give me Kansas in this one. I think they're the better club.
They are at home. I'll take Colorado with a lot of hesitation. Because I do think Kansas is a good team. They lost a lot of close games. And I don't know that I believe Colorado can be consistent enough to get to the finish line. This is one of those spots on the road where I think Kansas may get them. But better quarterback in Shedeur, a defensive line that's played really well for Colorado. I will take Colorado with not a ton of confidence. What about Missouri at Mississippi State? We just have to fill out the games.
Yeah, this is a stupid game. Can I just pick a tie? Can we do that?
I guess we could try a different game if you want, but I'm trying not to pick Boise and Wyoming where it's a 23-point line.
I want to say the Mississippi State because they're at home, but they stink.
All right, let's not pick this one then.
Yeah,
let's not pick
another
this
one.
Yes. We'll move on to Bama at Oklahoma.
Okay, Alabama. Are you thinking about Oklahoma here?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know if it's just my inherent desire to see Bama lose so I can laugh at all the Alabama fans again.
Mm-hmm.
But I really legitimately believe Oklahoma's defense is very good, especially their defensive front seven. It is a night game in Norman. They are trying to get to bowl eligibility. They are anxiously awaiting a marquee win. And Alabama, people are buying them now, but they beat Missouri without their starting quarterback. They beat LSU, who's not very good, and they beat Mercer. That's who they've beaten the last 2 weeks. And on their 2 losses this year at Vanderbilt, at Tennessee. Like, they have not been great on the road. I understand the LSU game. I think Oklahoma defensively can. If Oklahoma had a freaking pulse, and Oklahoma's coming off a bye, if Oklahoma had a pulse offensively, I'd pick them so easily. But I'll take Bama. I'll take Bama and hope I'm dead wrong.
You mean if they would have kept the quarterback that was proven and not went for the young gun?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like situation LSU's going to be in next year. I think we're going to be in a good spot next year with Nuss Bus.
I agree. They'd be in a much better spot with Nuss next year than Bryce Underwood. But long term, of course, you want Bryce Underwood. All right, A&M is at Auburn.
Did you pick Oklahoma last game?
No, I took Bama.
Okay.
Regrettably, and I hate myself for it, but I'm picking Bama.
Yeah, A&M at Auburn. Texas A&M's going to win.
All right, we will go head-to-head. Muse, you and I, you have convinced me. I am going to take Auburn at home at Jordan-Hare. I think it's a huge look-ahead spot for Texas A&M with Texas next week. It's on the road at Jordan-Hare. And Auburn has been mind-numbingly stupid in some of their losses where they've outplayed teams. I think it's one of those weekends where the deck usually clears, right? The cream rises, and you're going to have pretenders bow out, and I think A&M is one of those that's going to bow out after they lose to Auburn. So I am going to take Auburn at home. All right, 3 more. Iowa State is at Utah. Big one for the Big 12. Utah is not in it, but Iowa State is still very much in it. But this is at Utah.
Yeah, it is.
It's a 7-point line, if you're curious.
It's going to be freezing, too, over there. Give me Iowa State.
I'll go with Utah at home in Salt Lake.
Should.
I'll go Utah at home in Salt Lake. I don't feel great about it, but
you've made worse picks.
That whole student section there, for some reason, night games in Salt Lake, it's wild, man. They just play better, and they're well coached. I think I'll take Utah. All right, 2 more. USC against UCLA, the battle for Los Angeles. 2 teams LSU played earlier this year.
Yeah, I thought USC. I think USC is going to win this one, and I really don't have any reason why. But let me go there.
All right, USC. I'll take USC as well. And the last one is Vandy and LSU, and I can't believe this is one that we actually have to sit here and think about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little concerned, but give me the Tigers always.
All right,
you know that.
You're a homer. All right, I'll make my pick a bit later in the show. All right, Mr. The Riot, where are we? Central Lafourche, South Lafourche? Who the Flying Squirrels got?
Central, but we're playing
big football
Vanderbilt
game.
Catholic.
Big football game that you're missing tonight.
Yeah, who we got?
It's Parkview against Dunham tonight in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
little rematch of the regular season.
Yeah, here Elijah Haven's going to reclassify, and he's coming because the Underwood news. He's going to reclassify, and he'll be on campus not next year, but the following. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, got it. Sure. Okay, Mr. The Right. Thank you for your time. Go Flying Squirrels. Let's get a dub.
See ya. Thank you.
All right, that's Ryan Terrio. It's AFR. Sam Spiegelman next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Yo, we are now 6 days away from Thanksgiving. Buy a ham, get a turkey. We've been telling you about this. Buy a ham, get a turkey. Buy a Hormel Cure 81 spiral sliced ham, $2.99 a pound. Get a free Grade A Butterball frozen turkey up to 14 pounds from Rouse's. $25 in-store purchase, limited to 1 per customer. You can get all the deets at Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. They can take care of all your sides as well. Trying to fill out those holiday dinner platters. Maybe you don't want to take care of it. Rouse's can do it for you. Go to Rouse's.com. That's Rouse's.com. Or just walk in any Rouse's location. 70 of them. From Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama, and points in between. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off the newly designed Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
We'll get a thought on all the games in the Southeastern Conference here in about a dozen minutes or so. I'll get you a final LSU Vanderbilt prediction as well. Big news with Bryce Underwood flipping from LSU to Michigan. Want to get the national reaction. Our buddy Sam Spiegelman, national recruiting analyst for Rivals, good enough to jump aboard and get him on Twitter, X, at Sam Spiegs. How are you, man?
What's going on, man?
Oh, well, what a day to ask that question. Let's just start with the obvious one, which is, okay, you learned of the flip yesterday, I would assume when all of us did. What was your reaction?
I was pretty surprised. A lot of the reporting that I had done personally pointed in the arrow direction that LSU was going to hold on to Bryce Underwood. He was on campus a couple of weeks ago, and the buzz that I got coming out of that visit was that he's going to be a Tiger. He's going to sign on the dotted lines. And to our knowledge, he had not made any visits to Ann Arbor, at least not publicly. And things were pointing up for BK and Joe Sloan and Bryce Underwood to step in and compete for that quarterback job when he steps foot on campus. We were obviously all privy to the reporting about Michigan's NIL package. And if you're paying attention to college football recruiting, then you were aware that these very sizable NIL packages are thrown out for certain recruits at certain positions. Bryce Underwood being arguably the #1 player, #1 quarterback, the most premium position. When you hear about that kind of NIL offer being thrown around compared to some of these other 5-star quarterbacks in years past, it's one of, if not the biggest number that I've heard thrown around for a high school quarterback. And, not surprised. I've seen kids jump at it, and who can blame them?
Completely. I know the number that we were told here was the package for Underwood got to $12 million, which, of course, a week ago there was the reports of 10.5. I mean, at some point it's enough that you say, okay, of course you do. So, Sam, was this, as best you could tell now in the last 24 hours, was this all about the money? Or did other factors creep in the 2 weeks since Bryce was here for the Alabama game?
It's hard to discount that Sharon Moore is a young coach with a lot of energy, recruiting a kid that lives 30 minutes outside of Ann Arbor. We've seen this story play out a lot in Baton Rouge the other way, and at the end of the day, a good chunk of kids do love the idea of staying home and playing for their home state team, and especially when you're that close to campus, you feel the energy of that program. And they did just win a national championship not too long ago. Not to mention they have a young coach of color as their head coach leading them, and Bryce Underwood happens to also be a young kid of color and might like the opportunity to play for a coach like Sharon Moore, who, talking to kids in Louisiana,
really love the energy that he brings to recruiting, that he brings to football. But I can tell you that the relationships that Bryce had at LSU with Joe Sloan, with Cortez Hankton, with Frank Wilson, with Brian Kelly, with so many members of that coaching staff, it's hard not to point to those being equally, if not at least heading into these final weeks. Obviously, when you have an NIL package being as lucrative as that, being a factor, maybe relationships to just take a little bit of a back seat. You have to imagine that had to come into play when you talked about the relationships that he had with Sloan. I mean, he's visited Baton Rouge maybe 5 or 6 times since he committed in January. That's more than you hear about with kids from Belleville, Michigan, coming down to little old Baton Rouge when they're the number 1 quarterback in the country. They're doing that for a reason. They're doing that to get used to the culture, the community around there. And as far as we were concerned up until a couple of days ago, he really saw himself playing in that atmosphere.
What are the national dominoes, Sam, with Bryce flipping to LSU? What dominoes fall next?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I can tell you this: there's all of a sudden LSU joins Oklahoma, Texas A&M as major SEC programs in the hunt for quarterbacks. We saw yesterday Julian Lewis flip to Colorado. Lincoln Riley had a quarterback from California follow suit soon after. But Georgia is still in search for a second quarterback in this cycle. LSU is going to do its homework and try to get on a quarterback fast. There's not too many uncommitted kids, so Joe Sloan's either doing his homework right now or going to be hitting the portal. But what this does is LSU also is one of the few teams that doesn't have a 2026 quarterback on board yet. A lot of programs are already ahead of that. With Bryce Underwood, that definitely intimidated a lot of 2026 quarterbacks. Now, without Bryce, if they are unable to sign a quarterback late, which, again, is I think Oklahoma has a local kid in mind. Georgia as well has a local kid in mind. I'm not sure if LSU does in its backyard. That's on Joe. But it leaves a possibility that they're going to have to get their homework done on the portal and see who's going to become available.
A couple more minutes here with Sam Spiegelman, national recruiting analyst for Rivals. You can get him on Twitter at Sam Spiegs. There's also this sort of concern, Sam, about the Pied Piper effect. Underwood going to Michigan. Could he take other players in this LSU class with him? Who do you think that's possible? And if so, who are the most likely candidates?
It's very possible. First, you have to look out of state. Derek Meadows is a big win that Cortez Hankton got over the summer. Alabama and Notre Dame were both very much in the mix with Derek Meadows before he committed to LSU. He even had to extend his, announcement date because it had gotten so tight between LSU and Notre Dame. And Alabama at the time slowed down because they had Caleb Cunningham committed, who just recently flipped to Lane Kiffin and those in-state Ole Miss Rebels. So now Alabama, Notre Dame, and Bryce Underwood and Michigan are involved with Derek Meadows. I think it's very unlikely he signs with LSU in a couple of days. And then the other kid we're also hearing about is Tyler Miller. He's one of Brad Davis's, gems that he found in Laurel, Mississippi. Since he committed to LSU, Mississippi State, and also Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss have been chipping away at Tyler Miller. They just pulled Devin Harper out of Shreveport. The way that this class is trending, sometimes it's hard to hold on to those blue chippers from Mississippi when the home state teams are making that push. And then you also have to keep an eye on DJ Pickett. Again, Corey Raymond has gone into parts of the country like California, Texas, and in DJ's case, Florida. But right now with LSU obviously having its struggles, trying to hold together this class, DJ has made visits to Miami, which finished right behind LSU over the summer. Georgia's trying to get involved for another cornerback to close out this class. And then Cade Phillips, their 4-star defensive back from Houston, is supposed to visit Texas this weekend. Terry Joseph is a Louisiana guy. He's seeing some of the smoke in the water, trying to take advantage and get some kids on campus too.
LSU's got a lot of work to do here with less than 2 weeks till the early signing period to keep this class together. It'll be fascinating to see if they can. Sam Spiegelman, national recruiting analyst for Rivals. He's on Twitter at Sam Spiegs. Sam, last thing, when you look at well, actually, two more if I could. One, let me get your thoughts on Jakeem Stewart, if I could, because Michigan did re-offer, I suppose is the way he worded it in a tweet. I know LSU people feel very confident, but when you see the type of money that that Michigan's throwing around, it's hard to imagine, if they want him badly enough, Michigan doing anything but getting him.
Yeah, I don't think he'll land at Michigan. I think it's obviously very interesting, and the timing of the offer. Again, I think it's 12 days until National Signing Day. I don't think there's much time to get to Ann Arbor. It's very hard to envision someone signing with a school that they haven't, literally set foot on campus and sat down with the head coach. But I guess when you hear some of these numbers, I would probably do it. Matt, would you?
Absolutely.
They just won a national championship and they turn out first round picks on the defensive line all the time. But that's where Jakeem is. He's back in Oregon right now. Oregon, as you know, is on a bye week this week. He already took his OV to Oregon when they beat Ohio State. That was a very live environment, and during that OV, Dan Lanning gave him a ton of attention, a ton of assurance that he's a top priority for the Ducks. We know that the Ducks are well ammunitioned with NIL to make a run at this. And then he took his OV to USC last weekend. As you saw, USC has kind of lost some steam on the recruiting trail. That's opened up some room for them to make some play for Jakeem Stewart in the NIL spectrum, in the Aaron Henderson spectrum. He's obviously known for what he did with Aaron Donald in LA. He's a New Orleans guy who is from Carr. That's an obvious connection for Jakeem and obviously the people in his circle. LSU is going to be around until the end. You can expect that with Frank Wilson. But right now I do think there's a gap between LSU and those two other teams in the Big Ten. He's going to head to Ohio State next weekend. I guess he will see Michigan on the field against those Buckeyes. I think at one point this offseason, Ohio State might have been the number one team. But I think as it comes down the stretch, I'm keeping an eye on USC and I'm keeping an eye on Oregon, especially with him returning to campus for this unofficial visit for a bye week where they can spend a lot of time with him.
Sam Spiegelman, national recruiting analyst for Rivals. Get him on Twitter. Make sure you follow him there at Sam Spiegs. Sam, we appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Anytime, Matt. Have a good one.
You do the very same. We're brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. Parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. That's me. That's Terrio. That's Richard Tilley. That's Joe Morales. That's Trent Davis. It's our whole staff over at Parish Construction and Roofing. At our last break, I popped out of the hall. Brian Haldane, a.k.a. The Brain. His office is right across from our studio. He said, I got to tell you, I'm very happy. Beautiful roof. We just redid the roof at the Haldane home. Parish Construction and Roofing. Do business with someone you know. That's us. Love to help you. I can help facilitate. If you'd like, you can always text me or tweet me or email me. I'm happy to help facilitate. But as I always say, there's only two ways to know if you got roof issues. Let us come do a free, no-obligation roofing inspection, wait for it to rain, and find out you got water in your house. One of those options is better than the other. And our goal is to make sure we make everything seamless for you, to where literally from the first time you call us, the only thing you have to do is pick out a shingle color. We'll meet the adjuster. We'll file the claim. We'll obviously replace your roof. We'll handle everything from start to finish. And all you got to do, pick your shingle color and enjoy your beautiful new roof from Parish Construction and Roofing. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. All right, thanks to Sam Spiegelman. We'll come back, take a quick look at the weekend around the SEC, and I'll get you an LSU Vanderbilt prediction before we get out of here. It's a Friday edition of AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Don't you move.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. And remember, we'll keep reminding you, go to GordonGives.com. That's GordonGives.com. Right now, Gordon taking entries for the bike giveaway. Every year, GordonGives.com, 488 bicycles they give away to less fortunate children around the state of Louisiana. So to get more information about how you can win one of those bicycles this Christmas, go to GordonGives.com. That's GordonGives.com and fill out the form right there on the homepage. Love telling you about this and all the different charitable ways that Gordon and his staff and their firm do amazing work. Again, the Gordon Gives bike giveaway going on right now, entries right now. So go to GordonGives.com to try to win one of those 488 bikes. Get Gordon and get it done.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Let's talk turkey. Bayou Ford can get you in a new 2024 Ford F-150 with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off America's favorite F-150 truck. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Get you an LSU Vanderbilt final preview and prediction here in just a smidge. Saints are on their bye week, so no game to preview or predict, but it was interesting because I like to follow some of the sports betting angles and some of the advanced metrics just for projectability, odds of, for example, in this case, the Saints making the playoffs. And to be very clear, I do not think the New Orleans Saints are going to make the playoffs. I don't have these illusions of grandeur of them going on this incredible run and finishing, on this 8-game winning streak or whatever it might be. I don't think that's going to happen for New Orleans. But it's interesting just at this moment we can take pause and say, all right, well, they've won 2 in a row. Can they make it 3? And then they do. Can they make it 4? And how that may go as it continues to progress. For what it's worth, Next Gen Stats projects the Saints with a 4% playoff probability. 4%. So keep in mind that the Saints really have no shot of winning an at-large berth. If they won out, they'd be 10-7. That's not likely to get you an at-large berth. 10-7, the hope would be, if you won out and went to 10-7, that you could win the division. I don't think that's going to happen in any way. You'd also have to look at the rest of the division at what would have to happen there for the Saints to win the division at 10-7, keeping in mind, as the standings are right now, Atlanta is 6-5, Tampa's 4-6, and then the Saints are 4-7, and Carolina's 3-7. So you're actually half a game better than Carolina, who beat you. The Carolina loss. I mean, we might be having a very different conversation if the Saints had won in Carolina. However, if the Saints had won in Carolina, Dennis Allen would likely still be your coach, so I don't know if it is the same thing. But Darren Rizzi did have this to say about the New Orleans Saints and what he kind of hopes they accomplish this week and with their bye week and getting healthy late in the season.
When you have a late bye like this, it's, to me, a little bit of a complete different mentality than early in the season buys. And so, number one, we got to rest and relax and get our bodies back and come back refreshed. I think that's number one. Number two, we have a little momentum going here over the last couple of weeks, so I think it's important that we come back, with that same mentality. Sometimes when you step away for a minute or two, it could be easy to kind of lose track, lose focus. So, just coming back, getting some downtime, everybody getting healed up, getting the bodies right, getting some good recovery in. At the same time, coming back with a focus and a purpose and, coming back in the building.
He says the right things, but there's also the practicality of if you're going to make a run, what would have to happen. So I'll kind of spell that out for you here quickly. Obviously, the New Orleans Saints would have to win out. You'd have to win out to get to 10-7. That means you'd have to beat the Rams and at the Giants, which I think is a winnable game. You'd have to come home and beat Washington. You'd have to win at Green Bay, and then you're home against the Raiders, and then you're at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So 6 games to go. You'd have to win them all to get to 10-7. But you'd likely also need, not likely, you would need Atlanta to come back to the pack because they're currently 2 games ahead of you. Here's the tricky part. If you look at the remaining strength of schedule in the NFL, Atlanta is 21st, the 21st most difficult remaining strength of schedule. With 6 games remaining, pull this up, please. With 6 games remaining, they have 3 against Minnesota, the Chargers, and the Commanders, but they also have 3 games against the Giants, the Raiders, and the Panthers. So that's the most difficult of the division remaining. The Saints have 6 games remaining. They're the 25th most difficult remaining schedule, and we know their games. And then, obviously, we're also looking at Tampa Bay, who currently is at 4-7, at 4-6, and they have 7 games remaining. There's only one team that Tampa plays remaining with a winning record. They play the Chargers. Their other games, the Giants, the Raiders, the Cowboys, the Panthers twice, and the Saints. So, if you're looking at what team in the division might actually be more inclined to make a playoff push, it's not the Saints getting hot and going on a run. It's Tampa. Because aside from the game against the Chargers, Tampa could well be favored in every one the rest of the way. And it wouldn't be surprising at all to me if we look up here in a month and Tampa is the team leading the division. I think as you look at the remaining schedules, a worst case for Atlanta is probably 3-3. And if they go 3-3, that puts them at 9-8. I think that's a worst case. A worst case for Tampa, I think, is 4-3. That would put them at 8-9. And I think a worst case for New Orleans, again, worst case would be 1-5. And that would put you obviously at 5-12. So now there's a best case scenario. I think what would have to happen here is you'd have to have the worst case scenario for Tampa and Atlanta and the best case scenario for New Orleans for that to flip. That's why it's 4%. It's just hard to imagine that happening. For the most part, what I'm going to continue to watch for the New Orleans Saints the remainder of the year is I want to see the young guys continue to develop and play better. I want to see this team be competitive and win games and evaluate Darren Rizzi to see if he would actually be a candidate for the full-time head coaching job. If the most improbable thing ever happens and the Saints end up in the playoffs, I'll be standing on my head with excitement. I'm just not banking on that. What I actually think is more likely is Tampa goes on a run and ends up winning the division again. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. It's at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Give them a shout. You can always start at the website at ReliefWindows.com. See pictures of their work. You can schedule that consultation either in your home or at their showroom on Airline Highway in Prairieville. By the way, the showroom on Airline Highway in Prairieville, the same people that designed LSU football ops are the ones that designed the Relief Windows showroom. It's pretty stinking spectacular if you want to go check it out. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Cold weather season's here. Make sure you keep that cold air out and the warm air in with energy-efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com. All right, it's After Further Review. Been a really good show. Thanks for being here with us. Remember, you can catch everything on demand if you missed it. AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. Wanted to remind you, there is a new way that you can consume us on demand. So we do have our full show podcast that if you just go to any podcast app and search After Further Review. However, if you're familiar with our YouTube content, we have AFR LSU and AFR Saints, where if you just want our LSU content or just want our Saints content, you can get it on YouTube. But we're now putting that on all the podcast apps as well. So if you just want the AFR LSU content, go to your favorite podcast app, search AFR LSU. You just want the Saints content, AFR Saints, and it'll all be right there for you in a podcast form instead of video if you'd prefer. So all there for you. It's all about making it as easy as possible to get you the content you want wherever you want. All right, final break of the show. We'll come back. We're brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar. T-Bob and I will be there tomorrow for whiskey and wine. We'll come back and give you a final preview and prediction of LSU and Vanderbilt. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. 5:45 in the afternoon on a Friday before a home football game. That means the Tigers are over at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet. Of course, the Watermark's downtown, but the Renaissance on Bluebonnet, amazing place to host your next event, whatever it may be. Maybe you got a corporate board meeting, Renaissance Hotel. Maybe you got a fundraiser for as many as 500 people, the Renaissance Hotel. An award ceremony, anything that you may have coming up. A wedding reception, the Renaissance Hotel. Conveniently located right there on Bluebonnet across from Perkins Road in the Mall of Louisiana. Convenient to I-10, so it's easy access in and out. And it is a beautiful, sprawling hotel with plenty of guest rooms for all of your guests. The uniqueness of a Renaissance Hotel, every single Renaissance Hotel is unique to the market that it's in. So you'll see, like, for example, the carpets on the ground. Those are the abstract design of crab traps. Really cool. You'll see all those little Easter eggs all over the Renaissance Hotel.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties, so retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Football Friday edition of AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. LSU and Vanderbilt. They have not played in Tiger Stadium since 2009. So, a momentous occasion, Muse. They're going to break out gold jerseys and do something really This will make Vanderbilt feel welcome, won't it? Let's wear a stupid alternate uniform to make Vanderbilt feel comfortable and feel at home, because Vanderbilt wears, what did you say earlier this week?
Vanderbilt had worn 7 different combinations this season.
So why not roll out some different unis to make Vandy feel welcome, like they're staring at themselves in a mirror. Couple of 6-4 football teams who like to wear alternate uniforms, right?
That's what we got Saturday night.
It's heads or tails, LSU and Vanderbilt. They're what and what at this point, apparently. Vanderbilt can't stop the pass. LSU allegedly throws the ball pretty well, although we haven't really seen that in the past couple of weeks. Vanderbilt, pretty good at running the football, possessing the ball with their quarterback. LSU, one of the worst in the country at stopping the run. So, look, LSU throws it particularly well. Vandy doesn't defend the pass. Vandy runs it particularly well. LSU can't stop anybody from running the football. Did you see? Pro Football Focus has Zy Alexander has allowed the fewest receiving yards of any cornerback in the country this year.
Oh, I did not see that.
How about that?
That's good stuff.
Now, he didn't play in the opener and was limited in the second week. But by the time he got to South Carolina, he was out there, got an interception against South Carolina in the end zone. But Zy Alexander's allowed the fewest receiving yards against him for the entire season. So, Pavia, they really only have one pass catcher. They do have Eli Sowers, the tight end, former quarterback, now a tight end at Vanderbilt. But LSU defends the pass pretty well, relatively well. Couple of teams that have been a little schizophrenic on special teams. While Vanderbilt has a place kicker that's a Groza Award finalist, he did grab the throat against Virginia Tech at the end of regulation in the opener and in overtime. And he also grabbed the throat against Missouri on the road in a game they would have won. LSU, we saw Damian Ramos against Arkansas win the SEC Special Teams Player of the Week. A week later against Texas A&M, 0 for 2, and then they have the errant snap on one that hits Peyton Todd in the face. So, look, I just feel like what we're talking about here are two very similar teams. Muse, we can even look at the head coaches. Brian Kelly, Clark Lee. Clark Lee coached under Brian Kelly. He was his DC at Notre Dame for 3 years. I mean, they both wear gold.
They do?
Well, actually, Vanderbilt wears gold and LSU wears yellow, that they call it gold. But maybe it's like old gold. But I think it's truly like canary yellow is what they call the actual color. But I don't know. I mean, you know that Spider-Man gif where the Spider-Mans are pointing at each other?
I do.
That's what this feels like to me. And I use the same analogy when LSU played Southern Cal in the opener. Remember how crazy that was, all the comparisons?
Yes, that was wild. I do.
Both had fourth-year quarterbacks starting for the first time, replacing Heisman winners, historically bad defenses a year ago, new defensive coordinators. I mean, it was all those things. It was like they were like what and what. And that's kind of where I am with this as well. Phil Steele told us this line in the summer was LSU 28. In the summer, LSU was a 4-touchdown favorite in this game. And here we are for LSU Vanderbilt, and the Tigers are 7.5. It opened 9, went down to 8, now it's 7.5. And everybody is taking Vanderbilt with the points, and why wouldn't you? They do a fantastic job of running the football, controlling the clock. They're good in their defensive front. LSU can't really block people. So, I don't know. Muse, what do you think?
I was torn on it as well, Matt, and I'll tell you, I picked LSU solely because they have to win this football game.
Yeah, so does Vanderbilt.
LSU has to win this game.
Do they?
Yes, they do. Everything that's going wrong, they have to. This would be the first 4-game losing streak since 1999.
They don't have to win. They had to win last week. They had to win last week to keep their playoff hopes alive. And they grabbed the throat against Florida. I mean, this is just playing out the string. I don't think anybody on the LSU team cares about 1999. They didn't wear gold jerseys in 1999, though, by the way. They did in 1998 in Gainesville, in 1997 in the Independence Bowl, in 1996 at home against Vanderbilt. Cassie, who do you think? I mean, just throw it out there. Vandy, LSU, what do you think?
I mean, I feel like I have to go LSU.
Just because you're a homer?
Yeah.
You're a student? Got it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a student. I'll be in the student section.
Yeah.
It's
awesome.
It should be LSU.
Dynamite. Great. Yeah.
What are you going to do, Scan?
I'm literally going to flip a coin.
All right.
I have a quarter because I have no confidence picking either of these teams. LSU, I have no business picking LSU to win a football game until they do. And Vanderbilt's a touchdown underdog that got blown out of their home field by South Carolina. There's no reason for me to pick either of these teams. So let's flip a coin. Heads LSU, tails Vanderbilt.
Sounds good.
Hold the music. We'll flip it. Vanderbilt 24-20. Sales. Give me Vanderbilt. Oh, I hope I'm wrong. Oh.
Tails never fails.
After further review.
Get on down the road. Words. I'll remind you about Optimize. GeneratorPeople.com. GeneratorPeople.com. You're thinking about that Generac automatic home standby generator. Optimize. GeneratorPeople.com. GeneratorPeople.com. If you need a generator, if you're thinking about a generator, why would you call anyone other than the Generator People? You know, I'm still shook. Of course that coin flip would come up Vanderbilt, wouldn't it? Of course it would. With everything going on, of course we can't even get a coin flip. I feel like Clark Griswold in Vegas Vacation. There's just nothing's going to go right. You know what will turn that luck around? Let the power go out and let your Generac automatic home standby generator power on. Optimize can make that happen. Go to GeneratorPeople.com. From Lake Charles to Slidell, everywhere in between. Optimize. GeneratorPeople.com.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.